Hello and welcome to the Computer Game Show. My name's David Turner. I'm here with Matt Murray.
Hello.
I'm also here with James Farley.
Hello.
And John Denton has returned.
What's happening?
What's happening? Should we get straight into it this week? Should we go straight to feedback, Matt?
Yeah, let's. I mean, obviously last week, John's first episode as Sean's official cover. So it's nothing but good feedback, as you would imagine. Great podcast to start 2018, says Adam Way. Looks like David Turner's might have some competition from John as hashtag the main one.
I've seen a few of these. A lot of people are putting us against each other, John. And all right, go on, carry on.
Asimov Valinor, I believe is how you pronounce it. Love the new dynamic. Finally someone who can stand up to David Turner's. Adam Brown, not sure who the other guys are, but his new John Denton podcast is great. He's got a really good I'm the main one vibe going on.
well, okay. Let's not be silly here. I will say that people seem to think that we clashed last week. I don't remember that at all. Do you?
Did they?
Do I remember?
Yeah.
No, not really. I don't think so.
I mean, we've clashed before on quite a few things, and it ends up with you usually threatening me and my life.
Yeah, that's the standard protocol. Yeah,
exactly. So, and that, I mean, you ain't seen nothing yet, is what I'm saying. Like, I've got a feeling that it's going to get. I mean, I think I'm sure we'll disagree here and there, but I don't think last week was anything to go by. It was
nothing nicey, weren't they, for week one?
Yeah. It's like the opening week of Big Brother, and then it all goes to shit. It's all going to go to shit, Matt.
That's right. That's what I'm planning on anyway. And just to remind people, I'm not coming in trying to be any sort of main one. I'm happy, just respectful, doing my little tweets at the end.
That's obvious. I mean, if that was you trying to be a main one, that would be weird, like be weak. But
yeah, terrible.
No. I mean,
okay. That was a little dig for no reason. I see.
A little dig there. Okay, right. Anything else?
Ben Naylor, also a big fan of John. Good work from John on managing to read the questions without sounding like he was going to keel over and die. I mean, I saw a lot of those comments saying, the questions is great now. Questions is bearable, thank God.
How does that make you feel, James?
I'm pleased to be shot of them. I fucking hate you reading them. So
we're talking about the listeners.
It's absolutely fine. It's absolutely fine. I'm totally pleased with it.
But aren't you just like a little bit like, because you were saying, it's so awful doing the questions, and I hate it. And then John comes in, does it 1 week, and smashes it. And I mean, so the questions aren't the problem, is it?
For a start, for a start, right? For a start. John didn't have to.
Start, go on.
No, John didn't have to put all the emails in. I still had to do all of that. I still had to prepare everything.
That's the start.
I still had to do that. Yep. He didn't have you saying to him every 5 seconds, last one, choose one.
I did have a lot of grief, to be fair. I got a fair amount of stick.
Yeah, we did do that quite a few times.
And also, like, there wasn't any ridiculously long ones.
That, just moving on, just ploughing on.
No, there was also not any. I mean, I noticed there's one. I've just had a look here. That there was one that we received today. And it looks a bit shorter than the one I remember looking at on Gmail, John. Have you been at it with the scissors?
Of course.
He's trimmed it down. He's done his job.
No, why is he allowed to do that? But as soon as I did that, I get accused of censorship. I've got Matt having a go at me saying, like, you've got to read everything. You've got to read everything in full. Whereas John does. It's fine. No problem.
Because John's got a bit of credibility about him, I think. That's the difference.
Well, I'm
professional,
just wandered in off the street.
It's in my email signature.
Yeah.
It's like, this is what makes me laugh, is that, you put yourself up there with John and Sean. Like, when Sean was on, you were going, oh, what about Sean? Yeah, Sean's done a bit in terms of games media, right? Oh, what about, why don't you treat John in the same way? John's done a lot in the gaming media. Yeah,
okay,
you're
David,
not up there with them. You can't compare. I created Joypod, which was huge. Yeah, I mean, I pretty much created gaming podcasts. So show a bit of respect.
Ridiculous.
Like, honestly, what have you done, James?
We've done Dark Calls. We did that. I was the one who had to suffer through that. It was
I was the one that put you on Dark Calls. I was the one that made you something. Okay,
that's not true.
Come on, we've been through this. You can't compare yourself to Sean or John.
And also,
sorry,
I mean, remember,
what were you doing
with
before you knew me?
With Joypod, you screwed me over anyway, because I was supposed to be, like, I was going to be on that, and then I was gone for a bit, and then it was like, oh, let's get Sean in instead.
Have you heard that story, John?
Yeah, you told me that before. Yeah.
You might go the same way on TCGS. Sean will come knocking, and I'll go, yeah, no, of course you can come back, Sean. James, I'm afraid we're full up this week. I'm afraid.
Yeah, we are going to stick to 4.
Not yours.
Just get prepared. Okay, go on, continue.
On last week's show, eagle-eared listeners may recognise or remember that I had a little comment at one point saying, oh, wouldn't it be great if we had more tips, then we could buy £800 worth of editing software. Leon Cox and Ken Vince has come back to us. It was actually closer to £1,100. So I'm glad that's been clarified, Leon.
I don't want people to think that we've only spent £800 on our editing software.
I mean, Leon's been great. He sent me the receipt, basically. I've got the Adobe order number here. I've got the date. You know, and it was close. It was £1,092.16p. So thanks for the clarification, Leon.
Couldn't I have used that to edit down that podcast so it was less than 11 hours long?
No. No, they couldn't. Every word was needed.
Insanity.
I've been invited on a Cane and Rinse. I don't think I'm allowed to, I don't even know if I'm allowed to say what one it is, but I've been invited on an upcoming Cane and Rinse. So do you know what's great is that whenever we invite someone on our podcast, we're like, hey mate, you know, we'd really love to have you on the show. You know, what you thinking? Let's talk dates, blah, blah, blah. When I got invited to Cane and Rinse, it was like being summoned. I got an email that just said, date, time, attending, ? And I was like, and it was like a Google Calendar invite or whatever. It wasn't a, hey Dave, we're thinking about having you on the show. Do you think you'd be able to do it? It was like, boom, you coming or what? It was like, all right. So yeah, hear me soon on Cane and Rinse. Also, I listened to some Cane and Rinse the other week because I had to remind myself how dry it was. And there was like someone bleeped out a swear word on it. And I just thought, oh fuck yeah, I'm going to have to sort that out. And I'm going to have to get all my swearing out over the next few weeks before I step up to Cane and Rinse. And I try and avoid calling anyone a cunt.
Wouldn't it be funny if you just said fuck every other word and then they really have to use that software, really have to put it through its paces, really get their money's worth?
Yeah. Really test that £1,000 worth of audacity. I'm quite looking forward to going on that show again. I like Leon.
That makes one of us. Speaking of editing software, Chris O'Regan, one of my heroes, don't know about you, I think Atmamo's audio track was off towards the end of the last episode as he was talking over everyone. Dave, I mean, you've said many times, you know, you did editing, you've been I think you call yourself your podcast hero. You basically invented a gaming podcast, you know what you're doing, and yet we're 86 episodes into this show. You've been doing it for years, as you've told everyone countless times, but there's still editing mistakes. So what happened last week?
Well, okay. This is not me blaming you, Matt, because you're not at fault here. Matt's audio is always dog shit. Like, not in terms of sound quality. Look, you've asked me a question. Let me fucking answer it. All right. Not in terms of the audio quality itself, but there's something weird going in. Well, questionable. There's something weird going on with his time. I don't know.
Great.
1 minute.
I'm glad that's covered.
Are you going to keep doing this, or are we going to get through this together?
Are you going to let me have my piece? I want to hear what's happened.
I mean, that's twice now, isn't it? You've tried wisecracks and fucking failed. But fine. I mean, I'll edit it out. I'll try if I remember. So sometimes he comes in too early. Sometimes he comes in, like, say, for the first hour of the show, the time in terms of Matt's audio file is fine. Later on, it's all over the fucking shop. And I genuinely thought I had it last week because he was way too early. So I pushed it back a little bit. And then Joe started shouting at me to get off the computer and pay some attention and all that sort of stuff. And so I didn't check the last half an hour, and you were late. Hands up. Totally my fault. I apologise. Matt, I'm sorry about that. Also, there was another problem that you might not have noticed, where I listened back to it the next morning, and last week I said where James was from.
Oh, did you forget to
I edited out the word. I said I edited out with a bleep. But the problem is, the next day, I was listening to the final edit of the show, and in the background, John says like about an hour after.
Yeah, he just shouts it.
What the fuck? No, he doesn't. He goes, what is it? Oh, yeah, when you walk into the gaming.
Yeah. But can we just stop saying?
But so basically, I text Matt and I was like, fuck, John says what we do. And he was like, well, does James really give a shit about us saying anymore? And I said, yeah. And he said, well, I'll do it. I'll download it and I'll edit the word out. So last week's show did not have
Now, can we stop saying it now, though? Okay.
What you're listening to now, right, that's taken me about an hour's worth to sort that out, that mess out back there, right? So appreciate the joke, please. Thank
you. Mess.
Yeah. Okay. Right. So, yeah, that happened last week. So, again, Matt, thanks for sorting that out. I apologise for missing that. And that was all because James is weird. Like, that's literally what that was all about. James is weird, so we have to keep editing that out.
Thanks, David.
Matt, stop now, because I would have definitely timestamped when
Well, you're going to forget half of these, so it'd be me doing it anyway.
Okay, so I apologise, Matt. You helped me out last week. I appreciate that.
Good. Well, keep apologising. I've got some feedback here. I'm going to read all the feedback. I don't want any interruptions. Just listen to what I'm about to say. Archimedes. Hi, I'd like to apply for the position of at Computer Game Poll that was previously held by at Matt Murray. How long until it's available? George UK, your memes are weak, old man. Mark Fletcher, is this another one of your crap memes? I don't get it. Sam Quirk, genuinely got to the point where I can't tell if it's the Dave Turner's troll tweet or a genuine attempt at humour from Matt Murray. Mehmet, or UK Meho. Matt using ancient memes is like some sort of internet archaeologist. There's an aura of artfulness around it. I mean, you know it's bad, right? When even fucking late to the party is slagging me off. Shit mean that. Shit mean
Why
that.
Why are you tweeting these memes?
Shit mean that. Like, hang on. Rich Warner, Dadcaster, now using memes they discovered on their office's random channel on Slack. Ben Monroe, I can always rely on TCGS for the hottest memes. I mean,
we get the point.
It goes on. I would like to make an official statement. Those memes were not me. Someone is screwing me and basically undoing all the good work I've done. I mean, I know people joke about, the memes, but like, there's a weight of intellect behind those memes, right? I'm using the most recent, the most relevant memes. I do put good work into that, and it is, I think they're well worth watching.
They're terrible.
And there's someone, I don't know, one of you, shut up, one of you has then started doing like memes from 2006. You did like that Sean Bean one, like Winter is Coming, whatever that was. You did. Hang on. You did. You did
like, get your memes right. You're all over the place.
Yeah, come on. You don't know a fucking meme.
It's just
Right, okay, so it was me, because I was bored, right, at work, and I just thought, Matt fuck Matt with all his shitty memes, right? That's what's beautiful, right? There's a few things that I loved about just putting these shit memes out there. The first being, most people thought it was you. The second being, you genuinely tried an attempt at humour on Twitter, and someone said, I can't tell if this is Matt or Dave taking the piss, and it was actually your tweet. So, you really are that bad.
Really? No, I don't think that was me, was it?
What, when you put prepare to buy over Dark Souls limited edition thing?
I thought that was a great pun.
No, that reply, I can't believe, I can't tell if this is genuinely Matt Murray or David Turner taking the piss. That was a reply to your prepare to buy, which people have been saying about every special edition that's come out since Dark Souls 1. Like, they said the same thing every time.
Anyway, Soundquirk is off the Christmas list for that.
The third thing that made me laugh was that Matt, when he was kicking off about it, he was going, these aren't even good memes. I know, Matt, that's the fucking point, you idiot. Like, that's the whole point.
It's just embarrassing, though. I'm being a bit serious. It's just embarrassing. And now, anyone who followed us last week, we're using memes in 2006.
Matt,
yes.
Right, okay, let me explain something to you.
Please explain,
right?
Dave.
You love memes. You love memes.
I love a meme. I'll be honest, I love a meme. Who doesn't love a meme?
Okay,
I don't love the memes.
That's fair enough. That's fair enough. But what you're seeing in the memes that I posted this week is what everyone else in the world sees when you post your memes. That's what they say. There's no difference. Okay, mine are older, but it's the same amount of cringe. It's exactly the same.
Dave, one of yours didn't make sense. It was like, one does not simply listen to CCGS.
Sorry, you're criticising my... Like, I chose to post shit memes, like rubbish memes, and you still can't just let it go and realise that I'm taking the piss out of you, Matt. Whatever, it didn't make sense. I know, mate. I know it didn't make sense. That was the fucking point. Half of yours are fucked up and weird. And then I go, what is that latest thing you posted, Matt? Well, haven't you seen on CNN 3 minutes ago Donald Trump was in there and said this? No, I haven't seen that yet, mate. I've been busy.
They're happening as things are happening. I'm smashing memes out there. Anyway, whatever. It's annoying.
Right, and now I'm saying is that now you're getting an insight into everyone else's world when you fill up their timeline with horse shit. We may have a decent amount of followers, Matt. Bet a lot of those people have muted us. Bet a lot of people have muted us.
That's their loss, frankly. If they don't like us, they can just unfollow and fuck off.
I muted us. Ooh. It was terrible.
Did you really, Jay?
No, he didn't. It's clearly bullshit.
Beautiful. Okay. Is that
anyway,
it?
Thank you to every listener, everyone on Twitter who follows us and believe they were me. Thank you. I mean, the amount of times I'm like, no, it's not me. And they're like, yeah, the boy... Actually, my favourite one was Ben Symes, Scientologist. And I was like, it's not me. Don't believe these. And he said, it's the boy who crimed a meme, which I want on a T-shirt. So thanks, everyone.
Get that on a T-shirt, Matt. John suggested putting the quotation marks around Praise the Sun. And I must admit, John, that was probably the best idea you've ever had. I looked at it and just thought, because I said to John when I was chatting to him about it, I said, I just want people to look at these memes and feel like a little, like totally, completely empty inside. And those quotation marks really.
Don't worry, Dave, I did.
I came up with Praise the Sun as well. You had something different. Don't forget that.
Oh yeah, it's something like let's.
Don't forget, I denied about those quotation marks for a full 24 hours, but I think it turned out right.
Yeah, it did. We did all right. So it was me. Sorry. I was bored at work. I just thought it was lunch break and I had nothing to look at. And I was like, oh, let's go on a meme generator.
Yeah, great.
You should have seen the ones I didn't use.
You will soon.
Yeah, it is annoying, I'll be honest, but whatever. I mean, anyway, if you want to leave us feedback.
What?
It's at Computer Game Pod on Twitter or thecomputergameshow@gmail.com.
I mean, I will be honest, David, I did kind of enjoy your ones more because they were just
shut up, James.
They were so ridiculous that it was just funny because of that. You know, rather than trying to be edgy and cool, it was just it was terrible but funny.
The worst thing is, right, I had at least 4 others. I was like, oh, if someone wasn't mugging me off right now, I was going to do loads of
The worst thing was, you did post a meme in the week and my one's got more likes and retweets than yours did.
I don't think I did I? I thought I was off meme duty. No, I don't think I did. I didn't. And that must have, again, want someone else.
I'm pretty sure you did. I looked at the stats and I had like 8 favourites or whatever you call it, likes or whatever, and you had none.
It doesn't matter. I didn't do any, so whatever. Let's move on to news.
Okay. News.
Okay, so we've got 2 things that we're going to look at here, but the first one is the Nintendo Mini Direct. Because,
okay, let's get into that.
Well, because the internet kind of had a meltdown about the possibility of there being a Direct, and then they slipped out a mini one. And
why did people think in the first place that there was one coming? How did they know that there was one due? Are they regular at this time of year then?
Usually there's one in January, yeah. And also there was the Nintendo Russia sort of said that there was going to be something as well at one point. And then kind of people went crazy and then there was a massive thread
there was a big thread on Reset Era, wasn't there?
It was kind of crazy.
I think it got locked. It was like hundreds of pages, people losing their minds. And then Nintendo started trolling everybody with the tweets that they put out. Kind of like you actually, Dave. Yeah. And it was just madness because I was kind of only like a quarter paying attention to any of it, and I was like, oh well, they're either just going to do a direct or not. I'll just wait. I don't know. I guess that's what happens when you've got kids and stuff to do.
Yeah.
But anyway, so what do you want to do? Do you want me to go through what they revealed, over it?
Yeah, let's go through one by one, and if we want to talk about something, because it was pretty good, wasn't it? I was surprised.
I thought so. So first of all, there was a remake of The World Ends With You for Switch, which is, it's the DS Square Enix RPG, so that's getting re-released. Is
that any good? Have you played the original one?
I've never played it, no.
I've actually played this game, and this game leaves me with bad memories because I played this game on the train on the way home from Brighton many, many years ago after seeing it recommended, I think, at Edge, and it wasn't really my cup of tea. But I played it all the way home from Brighton. I didn't really get it, and then I left that DS on the train with all my games.
Well, it was that bad.
That's just my memory.
It was that bad. You thought, sod this.
I've since done that again, but yeah.
Oh, was that the first? Was that the time that I knew you? Because
no, that was my 3DS that I lost. But, yeah, God, I lose things. But yeah, it's bad. But it worked with two screens on the DS. Yeah. It was like one screen was this kind of RPG thing going on in Shibuya in Tokyo. I think it's Shibuya or Shinjuku or something. Someone will correct me. And the bottom half was like kind of a weird action game, a bit like a rhythm action game. I can't quite remember. But people love it. I know that.
It was a rhythm, because I remember when that came out, and then because there was quite a lot of people also saying it was really quite confusing as well to play, and like not that great. But I know then it has got a massive fan base as well, as people really loved it.
Yeah.
It also, I mean, it got released on iOS as well, like not so long ago, and I don't know if this version is going to be the same, same sort of thing, but yeah, that's coming. Right. Cool. Next we've got Pokken Tournament DX DLC. I'm sure nobody cares about that. Shall I move on?
Did they really? Did that fail? Because I remember playing demo and thinking, well, this ain't for me. But is it? I mean, I'd have thought that the license would have been enough to gain interest. No, is that
again? It's another thing.
I think it has an audience.
Definitely.
I don't think it's massive or anything, but yeah, Elliot saw it and he was like, "We've got to get this." I'm like, spending 50 quid on this shit. I didn't swear it, but
I do it selectively, John. Like, I don't let them see the whole direct. I'm just like taking the bits that I want them to see.
They're chopping them up in iMovie. No, they didn't announce anything, actually.
Yeah. Okay, so next we've got, there's Kirby Star Allies, the Switch game that's coming out on the 16th of March now, and they just showed some new stuff for that.
That's one character that I've never really got on. One Nintendo character I've never really got on with. I think I played one Game Boy Kirby game and thought, I guess this is alright, I guess. But Harry seemed pretty excited by it, so we might end up with it at some point. But yeah, I mean, is anyone a Kirby fan here?
No,
like you, I've never really spent many times with Kirby's games. I like the little guy; he looks funny, and I want to like him. But anything that I've ever played with him in, it's always been weird stuff. There's a couple of weird games on the SNES Mini, which I didn't really get on with when I tried those, like that weird golf type game. And then, there's a few like DS games that I never really played. I mean, I'm sure there's some of them are great. This looks alright, it looked decent. I didn't play Kirby's Epic Yarn or anything like that.
That was really good. I enjoyed that. That was a Wii. That was, because it was like a precursor to like the Yoshi's like style one. And it was really very good. It was a great game.
Cool. Alright, fair enough.
Okay, and then we've got more Kirby. We had Kirby Battle Royale for 3DS is coming out.
Yes, here we go. 100 Kirby's jump out of a plane.
Is that what? No,
that's the joke that everybody has made since this news came out. But yeah,
James, he's got his finger on the pulse of comedy at the moment. Matt, you got to watch it.
But yeah, and also Dragon Quest Builders for Switch. They've both come out right now.
What is that? They said there's a demo out. What is it?
Well, this is
been out a while, hasn't it?
It came out on PS4 and everything else like for a while ago, but it's a kingdom builder. So it's like after an adventure has sort of taken place, you're sort of tasked with rebuilding the kingdom, and it's kind of like, as I can guess, it's kind of like Minecrafty, as in
it certainly looks at that way in terms of
the logo
aesthetic, but I'm not sure if it gameplay wise is the same.
But yeah, it's okay. Yeah, it's constructed.
Fine.
Then we've got another release of Hyrule Warriors on the Switch, including all the DLC.
That's pretty cool. I mean, a lot of people would have missed out on that. So
it was a good game,
to get that out there. I mean, it wasn't a terrible game. I enjoyed what I played of it. And if it's cheap enough, like eventually, which it will never be, I will pick it up because why not?
And then the first really good stuff, which was Mario Tennis Aces, is coming in the spring.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that already. Yeah.
Does it?
Yeah, I'm up for a tennis game. It looks great. It's Mario. Yeah, I'm well up for that.
The only thing that concerns me is that when Mario Tennis first started coming out, it was a genuinely half-decent tennis game, and then they oversaturated the power-ups and stuff, and it become a complete pointless mess. It's like, the football games have never been good because the power-ups are like, you pick up a power-up and it's like, you score now.
Yeah,
it's like,
I used to
where's the fucking
Adidas
fun in
Predator
that?
Soccer, and if you had them boots or whatever the move was, you just scored a goal.
That's it. You get a goal now.
Yeah. You have the boots on.
Yeah, and that's how Mario Tennis went for a little bit. It was kind of like back and forth. He's got a power up, done. And I don't know. I'm not writing it off by any means, but I don't think the series has really got enough credibility with me to get excited about it.
Hopefully, it'll be better than that last one I played on the 3DS. There was that.
Yeah, but that was
selection.
One of several different games on there.
That was one of the better ones of the sports selection as well, but it wasn't that great. I don't know. I think it looks all right. It'd be something good to play.
Okay, all right.
Okay, then we've got more JRPGs. We've got Ys 8 is coming. Anyone care?
No,
Harry literally booed that when it come on stream. He was booing it.
The first really professional review I ever did, actually, I was going to say the first professional review I ever did was an Ys game. It was actually Bomberman on the DS. The second professional review I ever did when I was on Games TM back in 2005 was Ys 3, I think, something. It was on the PS2, I'm going to say. And it was back in the day where, like, when you worked on a magazine, you'd just be given stuff, and it's like, yeah, good luck if you know anything about this. And it's like, obviously everyone had the internet, but it wasn't the same way. You couldn't just bang on a YouTube video to work out what the hell the series was about. And honestly, I was just completely lost. So I had to play this game for a day. I barely got anywhere, and then wrote about it. I mean, that's my confession. I wrote about it, gave it a score. Can't remember what I gave it. So yeah, if you read that review,
a 10
12 years ago, it was a fucking
shame
joke.
It wasn't good, John, because you could have said, like, Ys are good. It would have been brilliant.
I know. Well, we all have regrets, Matt.
Yeah, I'm still regret from that last line.
What is going on, Matt? What is going on today?
It's like, just forget it. Move on.
Okay, then
that's the first time I've ever heard James sound like a teacher. Like the first time he's ever sounded like he could work in a university. What is going on today, Matt? Right, what's going on, mate?
I can do that more if you want, but I don't want to.
Please.
Anyway, then also some new DLC for Mario Odyssey. So there's
what a surprise!
This is
what a great surprise!
This is good though because there's some new costumes, which that doesn't matter so much. But the other mode looks fantastic, like this Luigi's Balloon World. But
Balloon Hunt. Does it look fantastic?
I think so. Yeah.
My God!
Especially if it's offline. If you can play it with just one other person or whatever in the room, that'd be fantastic.
Oh yes, I suppose local would be quite nice for a kid.
That's what I said. I tweeted about this the other day. I don't think it's going to be local. I genuinely don't, because they would have mentioned it in that direct. I'd have thought, because we're not going to see that again before it comes out, are we? I doubt it.
No,
I mean, there's rumours that there's going to be a proper, fully fleshed Nintendo Direct coming soon. But the thought of playing it local play would be brilliant. You know what I mean? I'd love that, and I would spend hours on it with Harry, just hiding balloons and finding them. So for those of you that didn't see it, it's just a free update for Super Mario Odyssey. Luigi turns up with a load of balloons. It was like, yeah, do you want to come and play balloon thing? And you're like, yeah, all right, I'll play that. There's two game modes. One of them is hide a balloon. One of them is find balloons that have been hidden by people all around the world. I'm assuming Luigi is in every kingdom, like many of the characters are on this, because it showed various different kingdoms where you could hide stuff.
Oh, really?
And the idea
on
is,
the video, I thought it was just New Donk City, but
no. On the video, it showed the Sand Kingdom.
Oh, cool.
It showed, I think, most of them. And so the idea is that you hide a balloon, and then the less, like, people try and attempt to find your balloon somewhere in the kingdom, and if they're able to do it, then you lose points, and if they don't manage to find it within 30 seconds, then you get points, and there's a world ranking system and that. It sounds brilliant. Like, it sounds like really good fun for someone that's absolutely smashed their way through Mario, who's got nothing else to do on it. I think I could get another couple of hours out of Mario out of it. But yeah, I'm just praying that it's got local play, because it would be so good to be sitting there with Harry and sort of, and I know what people say is, but wouldn't he be able to see where you're hiding it? That's fine. I've not got no problems with that. I'll shut my eyes when he's hiding his. Like, I'm sure we can handle that our end. It's fine. Don't worry about that. But I've got a feeling that's not going to be the case. It's going to be online only, which would be a bit of a shame.
It's still be fun.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. We will still have a lot of fun trying to find these balloons and stuff while we're playing it.
Elliot is fired up for that mode. He hasn't shut up about it every single day. Is it out yet? Yeah, it's out in February. We talked about this, and he's like, "Is it out today?" It's like, but yeah, he's fired up. He's currently on Mario Odyssey, just going through. He's nearly at the 500 moon mark, but he's kind of not in any rush. as you're not when you're 6, but he's just going through every single world and just like exploring all the geometry, trying to get to out of reach places, just really like rinsing the absolute hell out of every single element of the game. So this is perfect for someone like that. That's really, I reckon his hidden balloons are going to be pretty good, to be fair.
Yeah, that's exactly what I've been going through as well. I mean, Harry, I sent Joe an image of Luigi that Andy Hamilton sent me on Twitter, and she just rang me up and said I've shown it to him and he's just had a breakdown. Like, he's just had a complete meltdown. And the moment I come home, we watched the video together, which I was looking forward to. I didn't want to know what was going on in that game mode. I just wanted to know if it had enough detail so I could get home and show Harry and it'd be worth him watching something. Thankfully, Matt, after me saying, don't tell me anything, just bundled into the conversation and went, well, David, it's a balloon hiding mode that can be carried out on New Donk City. One of you hides that. I was like, what the fuck have you just done that?
I didn't read that line where you said, don't tell me about it.
Right, I didn't read that bit. You just thought you just blurt it out there. Fine.
Mate, Dave, you can't have a go at people for not reading text messages properly.
A good point.
Come on.
Or writing them properly.
So we got home, we watched it, and because he knows his birthday's in February and the update's in February, he's now waking up every morning saying, is it his birthday yet? Because that's all he cares about is seeing Luigi in New Donk City. That is like top of his list at the moment. It's exciting, isn't it? Yep. It's exciting.
It is.
I get why some people might look at it and think, okay, but it's free.
It's more content, isn't it? It's more stuff for this brilliant game.
It's free and parents are going to love it. Like, people in our situation are going to fucking love that. So it's all good. I'm well happy. And also that night outfit looks the bollocks. So I'm all over that when that comes. It's good.
Okay, and then the next thing was SNK Heroines Tag Team Frenzy, which is...
next game?
It's a game featuring only women that can be played with only one button, apparently. So there you go. Okay.
Next game?
Are you trying to make a point then?
No.
It sounded like you were trying to make a point.
No, it's not, no. It's,
Are you trying to make a political point?
That was the thing. Not really, Matt. Why would I be doing that about this?
You tell me.
Well, no, you just asked the question.
Oh, it's getting awkward. Go on.
Okay, then...
I mean, awkward in a really petty sort of book club at school way, but carry on.
Okay, and then we have Mario & Rabbids Kingdom Battles getting Donkey Kong as DLC. My son was delighted by this.
How does that work? Because I thought the whole thing with Mario & Rabbids was that it was a story thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, do they inject it into a story? What's the deal?
I don't know. I don't know how that'll work unless it's got extra... Because I know they've got like extra missions you can do, like outside of the main story, so maybe it's with that.
Do you have to pay for it?
Yes, there is.
Well, but yeah, so it says here Donkey Kong will be a playable character and he will star in his own story that will also include a new world.
Okay, how much?
It says it's included in a $19.99 season pass, but they didn't announce a single price for it, even though it is available as a standalone purchase.
Okay, fair enough. I'm close to buying that game, not because I want to buy it at all. I don't want to play it, but it's on kids' TV constantly, and
it's all right.
And we've finished Mario Odyssey.
You saw how annoying it was when we were up at Matt's last time. It's
and imagine me who hates that sort of game. Mm-hmm. I'm going to be a nightmare on it. Like I should just get that idea out of my head straight away because it'll ruin my relationship with my son as I'm screaming naughty words at Mario because he's not moved in the right way. Go on.
Okay, and then Payday 2 is coming at the end of February.
I had to switch that one off quickly.
Yeah, likewise. Yeah.
Scary masks, big guns. Mm-hmm. Oh fuck! Where was the warning there, Nintendo? Come on, we all had a go at Sony. Let's have a go at Nintendo for that now, shall we? Hey?
Yeah.
Good. All right. Admittedly, women weren't getting beaten to death with hammers, but still. Come on.
Okay, and then the next one we had is this FE or is it Fee? How do you pronounce it?
Fee. I see it was Fee.
I thought. Yeah.
Or Fee. Yeah. That looks good, doesn't it?
Yes, a 3D action game coming to Switch middle of February. It's all right.
Is it debuting on Switch? Because I swear I've seen it before.
Yeah, I've seen
it might have been on a previous.
I think it's on other stuff as well. I think.
Yeah. Looks alright.
Then next we have from the makers of Towerfall Celeste. Is coming.
This is going to be the real deal.
Yeah, 2D platformer.
This is going to be the real deal. Guaranteed.
What type of game is that?
Guarantee. It's a platform. It's a platform game basically, where like you play as this girl and she's trying to scale this mountain, but it just looks like it's like screen by screen type deal, and it just looks like every single screen is just full of ideas. Very similar movement mechanics to how Towerfall actually works. It looks like, but I saw a trailer for it about a year ago on Twitter, and I was like, oh yeah, this looks business, and it just looks better and better and better. So yeah, I'm pumped. I can't wait for that to come out.
Yeah, it looks great for Switch.
Was there a release like month?
25th? Yeah,
yes, this month.
25th of
this January.
This month.
January.
Oh really?
Okay, all right.
Oh, well,
I'll have to look into that. Cool.
Okay, and then we had Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze is coming to the Switch.
This is one of the most exciting things they announced for several reasons. Firstly, it's an excellent game that, you know, we all know that the Wii U didn't sell that well, and even with the units that they sold, not many people would have played this one. So for it to come out on Switch, if you've not played Tropical Freeze and you've got a Switch, then you must buy it. Like, you should absolutely buy this game. It's excellent.
Such a fantastic game.
It really is. It does, you know, it's a lot harder. You know how you have Mario 3D World, and then you had Yoshi's Woolly World, which was just that little bit easier than 3D World. Well, Tropical Freeze was just that little bit harder than 3D World. It was like, you know, it was like that,
like New Super Mario Bros. Then.
Sorry,
like New Super Mario Bros. U then. Like 3D World.
Yeah, I guess I'd say it was a little bit harder than that, to be honest with you.
It's pretty hard. It
has some really
demanding.
tricky moments. They've introduced a new character, which is basically the making it easier character. You know what I mean? There's a character that won't get killed when he falls in spikes.
I think that's a good move, because then like the game's way too hard for Harry probably at his age.
Oh, totally.
We'll see with Elliot at 6, but. Yeah, having that option is a great move.
It's also got co-op as well, isn't it? So you can play like 2 players at the same time. It looks really good.
Yeah,
exactly.
I said this before, I think on my old podcast, but that to me was the best platformer on Wii U, which is saying something, because you know there's some amazing platformers on that, but that was the one.
Yeah, so that's coming out, and the other reason that excites me is that we are absolutely going to see a lot of Wii U games coming out for this system. You know, they will slowly start to leak them out, and if they, you know, every other Nintendo Direct they announce a Wii U title coming to the Switch, then that's perfect, because there'll be a load of games that, you know, I've played 3D World to death, but I'm pretty confident that's going to come to Switch at some point, and when it does, that is fantastic. That is fantastic if that comes to Switch. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm definitely excited, and I didn't finish Tropical Freeze, so maybe it's an excuse to jump back into that.
And then the final thing we saw was Dark Souls Remastered is coming to the Switch. I mean, this was all trailed before, wasn't it? The thing.
Yeah, it was leaked beforehand, wasn't it?
It was coming.
By Kotaku.
But then also, apparently, according to Kotaku, like 2 and 3 are going to come later in the year as well. So that's interesting.
Yeah, this is a strange one, isn't it? I mean, we were talking about this. Is when you've got a remaster, you now have to sit down and say, do I want a 4K version of that game, or do you want a portable version of that game?
Yeah, this is also coming to Xbox and PS4 as well, isn't it?
PS4, yeah. So it's a tough one. I mean, what would you go for in this situation, Matt? Because you're playing the game at the moment, so. Yeah.
I mean, I know it's not going to be the case, but I would love it if the saves did carry over, and if that's the case, I'll definitely buy an Xbox. I mean, as it stands, I'm probably not going to buy it unless the saves do carry over, because I'm happily playing through the 360 version. But I don't know. It doesn't. I mean, from what I played, it doesn't seem like it really fits the Switch, but who knows? Also, you can't pause on Dark Souls, so when you turn the Switch off and whatnot, what I presume it will pause.
You can still suspend the play, can't you? If you hit the guide button.
Yeah, you can do that.
Oh, we can? Okay. Well, I guess you can, yeah. Good point. Yeah, I mean, at this point, I'm not going to bother, but I'll be interested to see what it looks like on PS4, on M3, and Xbox One particularly. I think on the Switch one, it'll probably look like how we remembered it on the 360, in all honesty.
I mean, I was thinking this. Which one am I going to get? And then I thought, well, what?
I'm not going to get any of them.
I'm not going to get either of them. I've finished the game. There's no way I'm playing it all through again. I mean, I love it. It's one of the best games of all time. And in the same way as what we said about the Wii U, if you missed out on this game, then you should absolutely play it. It's really good. But yeah, no, I can't justify playing that game again. If I was though. It would probably be like a PS4 game for me, because it's not just the whole playing it in 4K thing, but the one downfall that the handheld side of things for the Switch has is that the triggers are really. I really noticed this with Human Fall Flat. The triggers are not great for holding down for long periods of time. And my word, your hand starts to ache very quickly. And that game, you're holding the triggers quite a bit. So I think it will become a bit uncomfortable quite quickly. But other than that, I mean, do we want? It's a good game. Buy it, can't go wrong, really.
I mean, are the chances of the save porting over absolutely zilch? In my mind,
I'd have thought so.
Yeah, I thought so. Yeah,
yeah, I would have thought so.
Yeah, I thought so.
I'm kind of psyched to see it in 4K. To be honest, I think it's awesome that it's coming to the Switch. It's awesome that they're all coming to the Switch. But realistically, I play mainly the Switch and handheld on trains these days. Am I going to play that on a train? That was that funny the thread that came up on Twitter about me playing the Capra Demon on a plane. That would be a terrible idea. But I don't know if I could physically do it. But again, if I was going to replay Dark Souls, that's the only way I'd have time to do it. If that makes any sense, I'm not going to sit in my normal gaming space and replay that game. But traveling. It's different on the Switch. Like, I make time for games in ways that I wouldn't necessarily on normal consoles when I'm playing on Switch, just because, I'm stuck normally.
It's a good point.
I'm full of them, mate.
Okay, should we move on?
That's
all right.
No, James, let's sit. We're in an awkward silence.
Did you want to wrap up what you thought of it? I mean, overall, I thought it was a good direct.
I thought it was very strong for a mini direct, and this was announced as a mini direct and not like a full proper one. I thought it was very strong. I thought it gave hope that they are going to continue to add to Mario Odyssey. We had no idea that was coming, and then they started announcing Wii U games, and for me, I think that's very exciting because, as I say, Smash Brothers, if that comes, fantastic, I'll definitely play it. 3D World. There's just a bunch of games on that system that I wouldn't mind them just porting over to the Switch. And it wouldn't feel cheap and nasty. It'd just be, hey, no one played these games. Give us a break. Let's stick them out. Why would you complain?
So I thought it was a really positive direct because there was so much here, and this was like a mini one. If you remember back to what it was like towards the end of the Wii U, where they have they'd have like a full direct, and there'd be like one game or something like that, or two games, and it was awful. Whereas this, there's a lot of variety here, loads of stuff, and there's rumours there's going to be another one later in the month. So probably won't be, but
hopefully. Yeah. I remember those dark days towards the end of the Wii U's life.
It was terrible.
Yeah. Where they literally come out and said, "So I don't know, a 3DS with stars on it." Yeah, all right, Nintendo. Cheers. Thanks. What? What's
Galaxy
that?
Edition,
That's literally...
mate. Or Galactic Edition? I can't remember now.
Galaxy Edition.
And there was all those people saying, "Oh, they're going to release Mario Galaxy on the 3DS." No, they're not. It was.
I genuinely thought
Dave was one of those people, James.
He was.
I was totally one of those people.
I also roundly mocked him for it as well when he said it wasn't going to happen.
Yeah, after the fact that we found out that wasn't happening.
As well.
That's when you started laying in.
And before.
You're Mr. Hindsight. Go on.
Okay, so next we've got.
Hang on, just before you go into that, these Nintendo Directs are brilliant, aren't they? Like, I know when they first started, it felt quite weird, and obviously they. Did away with their E3 presentation just for these directs, but now they feel like this is just like such a great way to give us all these trailers. I'm surprised Sony and Microsoft haven't started doing something similar.
Yeah, they're kind of ahead of the curve, really, in that one. Just in terms of sort of delivering direct to an audience and not having to rely on going through media or press, or presentations, E3s and things like that. Rarely for Nintendo are they ahead of the curve in anything. Especially when it comes to media and the internet. But they've been doing this for a long time now, and I think they've hit on a formula that really works with the different headers that come up and the little teasers for later and things like that. And the pacing's good. So fair play.
Matt, I had exactly the same thought process this week. After watching that one, I just thought, this is genius. I can't believe this isn't like. I can't believe not everyone's doing this. It's so successful.
David.
It generates so much hype. And I know what you're going to say.
Major Nelson. You got the Major's Minute.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. The alternative is Major Nelson going, "Look, you wanted an unboxing video? I got it out of the box. What else you want?" It's like, mate, come on. But no, I find them really exciting and very entertaining to watch, genuinely entertaining to watch. And I've got a feeling that that's going to be now be a tradition in my house where I don't watch a Nintendo Direct until I'm at home and then I watch it with a boy. I'm that sounds great to me. And no wonder they pulled out of E3 because nothing good comes out of those stage performances anymore.
Yeah, like the amount of money and time and effort like Sony and Microsoft must have to undertake to get those presentations right, and then Nintendo just do that and they control it when they want.
Yeah, but do you think they could do that? Do you think Microsoft, or regardless of how talented you think, and do you reckon they could do something similar for it to work on the same level?
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's just a bunch of trailers and a voiceover.
Yeah, but they haven't. Microsoft haven't got one of the things that Nintendo got is the sort of the charming factor that they kind of have with this, which Microsoft really don't have. Like, I mean, they've got Major Nelson, as I said, and it's not. He's definitely not charming. I just can't see how it would work.
No, I'm totally with you, James. I think that's exactly it. And I mean, that sounds like a bullshit answer because it's it's the sort of thing Nintendo fans say, but I think it's true. That when you're showing constant gun battles and soldier marines and all that sort of stuff,
what's that?
Which is good.
Soldier
marines.
Oh, soldier marines.
Oh, yeah.
They're the ones, aren't they?
Games of soldier marines. I'm sick of them.
I'm not an army man. I'm not military
soldier marine game.
I'm not an army man.
But
when you're showing that sort of content repeatedly for that amount of time, you can't really have a jolly guy in between going, "Oh, okay, right."
And do you remember their brain dead thing that they did? Was it at Gamescom? Before the Xbox One, or just before the Xbox One X came out? I can't remember when they did it. Where they had those the brain dead influencer / community people sitting on the sofa in that bright room, and they filed in different creators to talk to them, and they spoke it was less edgy than people in the broom cupboard and CBBC when we were kids. It was I don't know. We were all saying, who is this for? Nobody wants to consume this sort of shit. So yeah, they just
hang on. YouTube influencers. I don't know that. Matt does. Were you into it, Matt?
Yeah, but even them, they're out there filming dead bodies and stuff. They've got some edge. Who are these fucking? They're like me's just sitting there, just like blank faced. It was awful. But if those guys are listening, fair play to you. You got to make that paper.
He gives a shout out. Right, next.
Yeah.
Okay, so
don't actually. I don't want to shout out from that shit.
Okay, so the next bit of news is worse, as in, depressing, which is the allegations of unhealthy studio culture at Quantic Dream.
At the computer game show.
So it wouldn't be allegations, though, is it? It's true.
That's true.
Okay. Sorry. Enough evidence.
Okay, so first up, these are allegations, so I'm not saying that any of this stuff is true. So anyway, the heads of Quantic Dream have been accused of...
Sorry, James, did your lawyer
to yourself, say that? You can't just say that and then everything becomes all right to say. It's not like you can't. It's not.
It's fine. It's fine. James. I'm not saying any of it's true. So the heads of Quantic Dream have accused of inappropriate behaviour. Should I read their statement first? Because they've released a statement since this came out.
Well, you should probably tell us that story first.
What do you want? Do you want the statement first or the allegations?
Well, the allegations.
Okay. So the behaviour apparently includes sexist and racist jokes, which they weren't. Apparently, the heads weren't involved in, but they turned a blind eye to. According to Eurogamer, there's also a cache of 600 controversial photoshopped images from 2013. Yeah. Apparently, these images include collaborators of Quantic Dream in sexual positions with homophobic and sexist slurs, or made up to look like Nazis. And yes, that's the thing. These images were allegedly shared in group emails, and they were discovered in 2017 when the head of IT was the subject of one, and complaints were made. And so... yeah, it's not so good.
Okay.
Yeah. So what was their response?
Okay, there's more. Do you want some more as well? Because I was getting no feedback there, so I wasn't sure if the mic was working.
Have you seen that famous video where there's an American news presenter and he goes, "No, get the lady back here. You didn't answer her question correctly." You not seen that one?
No, sorry, mate.
Oh, people will know it. But that's exactly what's just happened.
No, because I wasn't. We've been having.
I'll tell you how to do your job later. Don't worry about it.
We've been having trouble with Discord, and I wasn't sure if it was working or not.
Okay, go on. That's bullshit.
It's true. Oh. Okay. So anyway, let's continue. Apparently, Cage said that they hadn't seen all these images, just ones that were in. This is what he said: funny or more or less amusing. Cage has also been accused of making inappropriate jokes to and about women, And in addition, according to Eurogamer, others have apparently witnessed homophobic or racist jokes. One incident involved a burglary caught on CCTV. After watching, Cage allegedly asked an employee of Tunisian origin, "Is that a cousin of yours?" So we got Cage has also said allegations are ridiculous and has responded by saying that he worked with Ellen Page and Jesse Williams, so how can he be homophobic / racist?
Brilliant.
That is just the most ridiculous reply I've ever heard in my life. I mean, go on. And then he makes it worse by saying, judge me on my work.
He probably shouldn't have said that.
Well, there's two things, right? First, you know that there's a group of people that really don't like your work, right? So that's just asking for trouble. Secondly, no, we won't just judge you on your work because this isn't an allegation pointing towards your work. We're judging you on your work ethic and the environment you're creating. That's totally different. You can't say, judge me on my work, but you're treating people like this is a fucked up work environment.
We don't know how he's treating anybody.
No. Oh, totally. What I'm saying, though, is a response to those allegations should never be, whether he's in the right or wrong, whether these are true or false claims, it should never be, just judge me on my work. It's got nothing to do with your work. Like, surely you want to be going out there and defending the environment that you've created if you feel that you're being wronged by these allegations. What has this got to do with the work you produce?
Well, I mean,
So was that wasn't their statement though, right? That was thing he said.
That was his first thing that he said. And then they came out more recently with a much, more sort of well-judged statement. Do you want me to read it now, yeah?
Yeah, go on.
Okay. So, it says, this is their statement. Articles published today level various allegations against Quantic Dream, its management and employees. We categorically deny all these allegations. Quantic Dream filed a complaint several months ago and further complaints will follow. We invite interested parties to read the responses of our employee representatives and Health and Security Committee to answers to questions submitted by the journalists prior to the publication. Inappropriate conduct or practices have no place at Quantic Dream. We have taken and always will take such grievances very seriously. We value every single person who works at Quantic Dream. It is utmost important to us that we maintain a safe environment that allows us all to channel our shared passion for making video games.
Yeah, I mean, this is a tough one because we mentioned this before, haven't we? On across other stories, is that it's easy to go along with the allegations, and in fact, it's right to in certain instances with that you don't want to make people that are whistleblowing feel like they're liars, right? It's important that they should be able to feel free to come out with these allegations without being persecuted and called liars and written off. In the same instance, there's also that feeling of guilt, innocent until proven guilty. So it's a kind of weird thing to wade into at the moment and start commenting on. And I think, without wanting to sound too arsey about it, when people started sending me messages saying, well, what do you think about David Cage now, David? I'm just kind of like, no, hold on, you can't say, well, this justifies us slagging off his work. No, you're now commenting after this has all exploded. And B, you can't really use what's come out now as an excuse to the way you reacted and some of the stuff that you said about his work, because that's all you had to go on the time, and this stuff has come out afterwards. There's a disconnect there. It's not along the same lines. It's a difficult thing to comment on because it's so complicated. And all I can say is that if this is true, then it's fucked up. And my brain instantly goes, there must be an excuse for this. There must be, these images must just be between mates winding each other up, and mates do go cross the line with each other because they feel more comfortable. Sometimes it's offensive for shock value, this, that, and the other.
That still doesn't work in a workplace, does it?
Well, that's what I'm saying. But then I always bring it back to what would happen if I was in an office and this was going on, and I'd be pretty weirded out if someone was sending out photoshopped images of Nazis and stuff.
I've been in
around the office.
Not that part, but like the offices that I've worked in has been stuff like that all day, just people photoshopping each other.
Would you say, how long ago was that?
Well, 2005 to 2011.
So
that's when I left the office.
Did you feel weird about that shit when it was going on, or?
Well, no, because I was doing it too. This wasn't like sexist stuff against. It was just exactly as you said. It was just people being stupid, And this could easily be that, and it could be something way more insidious. But that part was like they turned a blind eye. What does that even mean? Do they even know? Like, or did he is he the arbiter of it all? And he encourages everybody to do terrible things. We don't know. This to me is a bit of a non-story so far. I know I've worked in an office with the MD was a sexist, racist piece of shit. I've got evidence of stuff that he said. I'm not going to go into details now. I know that environment. I was in it. So I could talk about that one. This one, I'm not. I absolutely agree with you that, you've got to be very careful if people are coming out and whistleblowing or making complaints to, again, not brand them as liars. I'm not branding anybody as a liar, but this to me, in a culture of nasty things coming out a lot and stuff that really is worth discussing, this feels like, all right. I mean, grievances, maybe a bit of unpleasantness, like, I can't. I mean, it's just, people would disagree with me, I'm sure, but it's like it kind of feels like it's fucking nothing to do with me. But yeah, maybe he's a piece of shit, and if there's some more evidence, then I don't know. It's like there's nothing here. I mean, yeah, if he's done terrible stuff, then obviously it's terrible. But what are we even talking about? Like, okay, I don't know. That's just me, man. I read the whole thing, and I was like, okay. I mean, I've got experience of working in probably slightly unusual offices.
I suppose that, like, I see what you're saying, but then there's also the fact that, we do care about games and how they're made. Like, we're always reading up about how they're made and stuff like that. And when you are into such, like when you're bang into your computer games, you'd like to think that the people that are creating the things that you loved are not being treated like shit or, working in quite a hope. Like, this wasn't just photoshopped images of each other. If the allegations were true, there's accusations of homophobia and that's and racism in there, and that's kind of like, well, do I really want to fall in love with a product that was made in that sort of environment? Do you see what I'm saying?
Well, I know what you mean, but like, you were the one that brought up, is this just banter between mates? I mean,
yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Originally,
even if it's banter between mates, like as we said, if it's in a workplace, that's still not acceptable or right.
But
shouldn't this kind of thing be highlighted sometimes too, like, so that people are aware that this sort of thing's going on? A
studio is very different to like an administrative office. Is a very different culture. I'm not justifying anything, man. Like, it could be awful, but I just don't know. I wasn't there, and I really don't know. I just, until there's more evidence or more stuff comes out, I still think it's a bit of a non-story myself. But the whole, that doesn't belong in the workplace type deal. Like, I don't. So it's a culture full of creative people in video game studios.
Yeah, but what if in that culture of creative people, there's people that really feel very uncomfortable with what's going on?
Well, I mean,
shouldn't they feel that that they should be heard about how this is making them feel uncomfortable?
It becomes an HR issue, doesn't it? I mean, I know I'm not the fucking moral arbiter of what happens in this office, and I don't ever want to be. It could be awful shit, but to me, I kind of running myself around in circles here. But I think, I don't know, I'm going to focus my attention on these stories that come out that genuinely, feel really unpleasant. To me, it feels like a non-story so far. Maybe it's a piece of shit. Maybe the office has a shitty culture. I worked in one that sounded, I guarantee the stuff that I could tell you about the office I worked in was way worse than anything I've heard about that one, but maybe their one's worse than the one I worked in. Who knows?
Yeah, but just because something's bad where you've been or whatever, doesn't mean it's like, it doesn't matter how bad they are. It's all bad. It's not like, it's not top drums.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I know what happened in my one. I don't know what happened in this one.
Mm-hmm.
It's true that, I mean, there is there's definitely assumptions being made, and we, as I said, it's a hard one to talk about because, I mean, you can't pick sides because A, you shouldn't really, because nothing's been proven and nothing's come from this, and B, you don't know the full details of everything, do you?
It's all true. It's just the thing is, I think it's easy for people to jump on this story because of the things that, I mean, obviously because of the initial reaction of what he said, which is a bit like, it wasn't a great way to sort of respond to it.
Yeah, that was boneheaded.
And also, people then point to, stuff in his games as well that people have had problems with before. Yeah,
but then that's nonsense, isn't it? People jump on it because he's a known guy in games that people tend to not like. To say that his games are representative of a bad work environment is horseshit.
How so?
I mean, no one said when they were criticising his games, no one was turning around and saying, "Well, this is clearly because they're saying racist and sexist things in the office."
No, but you're saying here that whatever's created, like, you know, by like a game studio or whatever, it isn't influenced at all by the culture in which it's been created.
No, that's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is that you can't now look back and say, "Oh, that's why that was in the game," because that doesn't make sense. You don't know the facts and whether it was or what. But you can't sort of
you can't
look back on that now. I mean, you could say, "What the fuck is going on with this?" And then, okay, that might be down to the culture. I highly doubt it because so many people work on this game. It's not all in one office, all done by the same team. It's all over the place. So you don't even really know who was working on what. It's such a mess with game development that I think linking those two just doesn't. I don't understand that, to be honest.
But there is. I'm just like playing devil's advocate here with this, but there is like this. There is the fact that he's always gone on about the fact that he is like an auteur. You know, he's like somebody who's like, it's my vision of all this and everything. So I think that is a reason why people.
What artists don't?
What do you mean?
What person who's in a creative position like he is doesn't think that they're trying to produce their vision?
Yeah, but he particularly will always talk about that to the exclusion of it being like, I'm not going to listen to other people and this is just my, what I'm doing. And so if this is his vision and this is what he's come across, from, if he's created this purely like, from what he wants it to be, then you can say that this is something which has come from his the culture of his studio.
I'm not sure I'm with you on that.
No, I'm fairly sure any director of films or anything would say this is their vision, this is what they believe, this is what they want to do. I think anyone.
And of course, to make it clear, no, if this stuff is true, no one's justifying it. It's just we don't know what the deal is. So it
just sounds like an HR issue. It sounds like a fucking HR issue. It doesn't sound like an internet police issue.
And it is, but like I said, I think it's just because people also hate David Cage, and this is something to sort of jump on a bit. I think. I mean, I'm not a massive fan of the games, but it's we need to find out the truth behind everything first.
Yeah, no shit. All right, go on.
And that's it. That's all we've got for this week.
Right, okay, so what you've been playing then? I'll probably just get this out of the way. I'm really sorry, everyone. I've just been playing PUBG a lot.
Ditto.
I wish I could tell you about a new game that I've played, but I can't, because every time I go to bed, I say I'm never playing that game again. And every time I wake up, I'm like, I can't wait till tonight to play some PUBG. I need that chicken dinner. And it was, John knows how bitter I've been getting about the fact that I haven't had a dinner for the past couple. The worst was Friday night. We got down to the final 5. You played with us Friday night, right, James?
I did, yeah. I beat someone to death with my fist. It was great.
You did? What was it? Final 7?
Yeah. Yeah. No, 5. We got down to 5, I think, at one point.
We got down to the final 5. It was me, Chet, and 3 other guys. And we got killed. And I went to bed so angry that I was so close to my first chicken dinner that I never wanted to play that game again. Between Chet and I, we had 7 kills, which isn't bad going. I had 3, he had 4. And we were like buzzing with, this is it. We were in a good position. They just spotted us and sniped us from across the map, and I was fuming. Then I went to bed. I woke up the next morning to find, John, Matt, and a couple of others had got a chicken dinner. Yeah. And I was just like, right, that's it, I'm done. I'm not going to play this again.
It was me, Matt, and our friends, Zeno.
Yeah.
Class.
So that night, I went back on. We had 3 games in a row, got down to the top 10 again in every single game. And then I said, that's it, I'm done. It was 1:00. I said, I'm not playing this game for a little while. I'm going to take some time off. And then our other mate said, let's have one more game. And I went, well, if you're all playing one more game, I'll have one more game. And we fucking done it, John. We fucking done it. It felt so good. It felt so good. A long time coming, but I finally got my chicken dinner now. So I think, I'd like to say now that I can put that game down for a bit and play some other stuff for a little while, but I just know that the texts are going to come in tomorrow night. Are you playing PUBG, Dave? And that's it, I'm going to be there. That's it. I know it's going to happen. And I don't know why, really, because I'm not working towards my goal anymore.
Yeah, but the goal is to keep doing it.
the chicken dinner, it gets you. It gets you bad. Once you've had that taste, you want it again.
James, did you enjoy it the other night? Because that was the first time you played it post-patch, right?
Yeah, and it definitely has been improved. It's like the frame rate's a lot better. And yeah, it was still great. It was still really, really enjoyable, especially, as I said, beating someone.
The Saturday after you played it, they released another patch, and that's got a new control setup, and it's so much better. So the left trigger now takes you straight into first-person mode. Like it's not a toggle, it's a hold down to enter. So it's basically like aiming down the sights in most first-person shooters now. And that's made the world of difference, because tapping the trigger to get into first person and tapping it to get back out, I never really clicked with that. I know, John, you've been fine with it, but it's always been a pain in the arse for me. And now that I can just, hold down that trigger whenever I want, it's just perfect.
Yeah, I'm sure it is better. I've just got used to the other one now, which is sort of, a wonky ass control scheme that's sort of brought over from the way the mouse and keyboard control scheme works on PC. But yeah, I've kind of got used to it. But I might give the other control method a go as well. See what I prefer.
It's still suffering from crashes. And there's still the odd, glitches and problems here and there. But I'm glad that they really seem to be updating it as much as they can. And we said this last week, that how now that they've got the PC version up to 1.0, they're fully focusing on the Xbox One version, and I think they are. You can feel every patch that comes along. It's not a little patch, 6 gigs worth of data, but you can really feel that they're making big differences and huge improvements to the game. So I'm happy to put this to the side for a little bit. I think.
I need to take a break. I definitely need to take a break.
How about you, Matt? You've not played it for a couple of days, have you?
No, because I've been away for the weekend, but no, I'm desperate to get back to it. I know I do need to play other games, and I do have lots of other games to play, but it's just been so good. I don't even bother texting people now. I just go online, there'll be a party, I jump on a party, and we play. And
that's what I said to James.
It's like when we were heavily into Destiny 1, you don't need to say, gaming at 10. Just, you go online, there'll be a party, there'll be games.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly what it's like. I said to James, was like, I'd like to play some more PUBG. And I said, well, literally, after 10 o'clock every night, log on, you'll see a party, just enter it, and then we'll work it out from there.
Yeah, we did.
That's what it's been like. It's been good.
I absolutely love
good
that.
Times.
It's been so good just to everyone to be playing the same game on the same console. It feels like forever ago since that happened. And and I'm still really enjoying the game. I haven't got mega frustrated. Like I said, like John, I got a chicken dinner, and it had been a while before that, but no, it's still really fun. But I do know a point to play other games, but it's just so good.
That was a beautiful chicken dinner, then.
It was
a beauty.
Yeah. So I've got the Hat Chick now. The Hat Chick, that's officially a trademark John Denton line. But yeah, that's getting solo, duos, and a squad.
I have no interest in getting one of those, because I have. I don't mind playing solo play, but I'm not going to sit and play solo play constantly to try and get the chicken dinner with that one.
You might get it on your first go.
Yeah, I might do, but I just don't enjoy it anywhere near as much as I do with duos or whatever. If I'm playing a game on my own online, it's probably going to be Rocket League. So I'm gutted, because having a Hat Chick to your name is good, but I can't do it. I can't do it. Might happen one day, I don't know. Probably not.
Anyway.
But yeah, no, still really, really enjoying it. I suppose we could tack on the news to this, is that, did I read today that Fortnite has now had 30 million downloads?
40 million.
40 million?
40 million, and 2 million concurrents they just hit. To be fair, PUBG has hit 3 million concurrents recently on Steam, so that's still the biggest game in the world. But yeah, Fortnite, I tweeted out today, business decision of the year in gaming. Epic dropping this battle royale out. Insane. They're calling it, in that article, they're calling it the biggest game in the Western Hemisphere. So obviously PUBG's Korean. Out of all games. And I think they're right. Like 2 million concurrents. Obviously they're on multiple platforms, but yeah, 40 million players. Absolutely, the game's not even been out that long. It's not been out as long as PUBG. It's madness. But I had another game on it, actually. I had a couple of games on it just to break up the the PUBG monotony, even though it's pretty much the same thing. And yeah, it's so good. It's so smooth. It's so slick.
What's
it doesn't
new
have the
changes
drama
they made
of PUBG,
with campfires, John? Are you aware of what that is?
So the thing is, they keep dropping in new little items here and there that'll last for a while, and then they might take them back out. And they're just, I think their pipeline is a lot more. I don't know anything about development. I'm trying to talk like I know what I'm talking about, but do you know what I mean? Like the way that their content drops and all their server side stuff is a lot smoother than PUBG's. Probably based on a million years of running your own engines, etc. But they can just drop in a new piece of content or a new item and try it out for a bit, take it back out, leave it in, change it. So the campfires was like an item that you could get that you drop down and everybody sits around it and heals. I never saw one. I didn't play it when that was in there. It may still be in there. So yeah, they had the boogie bomb recently, which is like a grenade that if you throw it at someone, it makes them dance uncontrollably. They put in, the whole game was silenced for a while. They dropped in a silenced pistol. They're able to be a lot more kind of, seemingly the game's a lot more malleable for them to do that kind of stuff with. So I still think the two complement each other. I still think there's room for both to play both. PUBG is the drama, but Fortnite is, the whole game's done in 15 minutes. I think we actually have a letter about it later, so I can talk about it there, but it's amazing, and we will see many more, as we talked about last week, many more Battle Royale games coming up, not just Kirby.
Yeah, it seems like Fortnite are prepping a new map as well. Like Ali A did this exclusive video the other day. Like loads of the big YouTubers are still playing this game.
Yeah, Ali's doing. He's getting huge figures off. Fortnite. Yeah, I know Ali quite well, and they're changing their map, which is fascinating. I'm sure they're making a second map, but they're actually changing their map significantly. Like, they're changing huge amounts of the geography. They're dropping a new city onto their existing map, which is going to be really interesting to see when that drops in the next couple of days. But fair play to Epic it was a bit of a dirty move to wholeheartedly rip so many things off PUBG, but fair play. I mean, what a brilliant business decision from a game that was in development hell for years and years and years, and kind of released to a wet fart, and now is the biggest game in the Western world, I guess they call it.
Yeah, I do. It does look great in all the videos stuff I see, but I'm happy with playing Battlegrounds for now.
I get it. But you should stick on a Fortnite and never solos and just go, because it's 15 minutes. It's not like PUBG where the game's like fucking 50 minutes and then you die. It's like, that was good, and then go and do something else. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Dave?
Right, where are we moving from here then?
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
What happened there?
Sorry, I don't know what. I totally blanked out then. I was listening. I was quite enjoying the chat then. I just fucking blanked out. James, what have you been playing?
I played Doki Doki Literature Club.
So you actually played it then?
Did.
So was this free? What was it? Because there was a bit of confusion about whether it was free or not.
It is free. It's it's free.
So what's the DLC about?
That's just like extra stuff that you can. It's like wallpapers and stuff like that. It's not actual content. It's just
sort of a way to sort of like their own version of the trademark computer game show tip jar.
Yeah.
Is that what that is?
Pretty much, yeah.
Fair enough.
So
they actually get something for it though.
So
okay, gotcha.
So I played this because you obviously said I should, and
the reason why I said that, right, is because I know that you're into visual novels and stuff, I know you like the sort of Japanese themed shit like this, and
that's
I'd
the
heard
genre,
that
yeah.
it takes that's the official genre, and I've heard it takes that sort of concept and really sort of adds a lot of weird shit to it and sort of takes you by surprise. So I was more interested to hear your take on it rather than it being a recommendation for you.
But yeah, I mean, I did play. I played it over last week, and I mean, I've never actually played. I do like visual novels, but I've never actually played a dating one in my life. It's just, I don't know, I've just not really been terribly interested. But I have seen a lot of anime that covers really similar themes, that, it does it in a very similar way. I mean, they usually follow this kind of thing where you have like the dating game and then it sort of turns into a horror. They always follow the same sort of formula of trying to like lull like the viewer or the player into like a false sense of security before they then hit you with something shocking. So in this game, I mean, you start off walking to school with a childhood friend who then invites you to join an after-school club. And when you visit the club, unsurprisingly, it's populated only by girls. and each one has like the whole sort of like different personality type, and it sets up the usual sort of like harem style like love triangle kind of thing, which is what these games usually do. But the trouble is I mean, it's very clear from the outset that something is going to shift, and there's a preamble saying that if you've got depression, etc., you shouldn't play it, and that there's going to be, something's going to happen. So you're kind of waiting for a dark turn. And you see, in the anime I've seen, the shock that occurs, what's really interesting about these shifts, usually in things I've seen before, is that it massively sort of shifts the viewer's perception of the world. It really changes and makes you, think back to all the things you've already seen and sort of reassess everything. And that can be really cool. It's like a really interesting way of sort of looking at things. You see, Doki Doki Literature Club tries to do the same thing, but I don't think it really works. For me, it didn't really work. One of the strengths with this kind of story, as I said, is the idea that they sort of create this false sense of security and then the shock. But the approach here is different to most other things I've seen, and because what they do is, instead of sort of building like relationships with these characters that then make you feel something when the sort of the twist happens, instead they try and lull you into a false sense of security by just being really boring. And by the dialogue just being very, very repetitive and uninteresting. And I know that what they're probably trying to do here is they're trying to sort of like mock dating games. They're trying to like mock this sort of, the way that these are sort of, sort of constructed. But
in what way are they mocking them? Are they mocking them as a type of game, or are they mocking them as in, I think, the boring sort of stereotypes that you get?
Yeah, it's that. And also, and like the dialogue and sort of the cliches and, that sort of aspect to it. And it really feels like they're sort of, I mean, I wouldn't say mocking, because they probably say that they're just sort of, it's like a homage to it or whatever. But it's, the problem is it doesn't really ever feel like you sort of build up any sort of connection with these characters. And because of that, when the twist eventually does happen, for me, it didn't really have so much impact. I mean, I'll admit I was scared for a few minutes after that. But then the other thing that like anime that I've seen that usually does this really well is that they'll keep hitting you with stuff that will knock you off balance, like over and over again. So you think that things have kind of settled down, you think things are okay, and then things will, more things will happen again. But for me, this didn't really do that. Once the reveal had happened, there wasn't really much that came after that. I didn't really feel it was kind of, I was expecting like the way it went, and the ultimate outcome I found kind of disappointing, because it's very kind of like Black Mirror. It's very like that sort of style of sort of like of like reveal, but.
Black Mirror was great. What are you talking about?
No, I'm not saying I'm not saying it's not great, but I'm just saying it was very similar to that, in the sense that it's. Because nowadays that sort of style is really common, and it's kind of a bit predictable the way it sort of did that. I mean, it does have a really, really novel way of resolving the game, and which is really interesting, which I won't spoil, but I told you about it, and it's
kind of like full breaking,
which is pretty good. And you see, normally I really love like these slow burn stories, but they only work if the dialogue is interesting enough to draw the reader in, and I just don't think it is here. It's just not. I don't know. I just didn't find it terribly interesting. Was the problem?
So is it purely like a story you're following, or how do you interact with it? I'm a bit ignorant with this genre, this kind of visual novel thing.
Well, usually you can make choices at certain points. So there'll be points where you'll decide like who to go with or whatever, or sure. That kind of thing. But the interaction is really minimal. There's not really a lot. It's mostly reading, and that's where the problem is, because you're sitting there just tapping the spacebar to just get through this dialogue, and unfortunately, because of the way that this works, things keep operating in a loop as well. And that would work if the dialogue was really interesting, but it's not particularly. So you're just like, I'm going to have to read through this again, and maybe something will happen, maybe it won't. It's
Well, you can't just skip that shit.
No, because I think the whole point is that, again, they're trying to lull you into the full sense of security, to try and make you feel like, oh, something's changed, something weird sort of going on. And I don't know. You see, the thing is back in, the thing this most reminded me of was back in 2007, there was an anime that I saw that was called School Days that came out, and that was an adaptation of a visual novel that also did exactly the same kind of thing. And it was so well designed, and the story was deeply unsettling, and I still think about it now, and it was just really messed up, and it really played with my expectations. And given, like, I know there was a lot of hype about this game, I was really expecting something on the same kind of level, but it's not. I just don't think it reaches the same sort of level of like similar Japanese games. And I can understand why, because this was made by tiny studio, just like one or two people that worked on it over a couple of years. But I'm not really sure what they were trying to achieve with it. Where it doesn't feel like a great horror game, and it doesn't feel like a good, it doesn't really feel like a great visual novel, to be honest, because it's just not terribly interesting. I didn't feel. I mean, that's
a shame.
Okay,
it's worth a try. I mean, it's 3 hours. It takes 3 hours and it's free, so it's worth a try to go through. But it's one of those things where I think perhaps if you'd never seen anything like this before, if you've never read anything like this before, maybe it would feel more interesting. But it just wasn't what I was kind of expecting the way it to sort of go.
Right, so this game's been getting a lot of press, right, and a lot of streamers talking about it. It's been, it's kind of blown up a little bit. If you were to suggest one game that does what that game tries to do, but better, like what game would you say to play instead of this?
See, that's the problem, because I can't, really. And the reason I can't is because I've only seen this being done better in anime. I've not seen it done better in games, but that's not to say that there aren't games that do this better. Is the thing. It's just that I haven't played them. So
there might be a game that does this better.
How about we put it out to the readers?
Yeah.
Listeners. Yeah, so...
Talking readers.
Yeah. Suggest something along this line that does it better, or something along those lines, perhaps.
I mean, as I said, like School Days came out 2007. That was like a visual novel to begin with.
Okay.
On like it was on like PC and like PlayStation, I think. But I never actually played it as such, because it's like the multiple choice, like kind of thing with that.
Yeah.
But I mean, you see, I really, really enjoy this style of game normally, because I like getting sort of drawn into a story and making choices, from time to time. But this just wasn't that interesting, was the problem. It's, yeah.
Alright, fair enough. Is there anything else you played?
Just ARMS, which John was right about. It turns out online it is super great. It's very fun. And
hell yeah.
What makes it so much better online?
Just it's more interesting, because you're playing against real people. It's trying to figure out, what they're going to do next. And it's really fun. I mean, I'm not a massive fighting game person, but I've had a lot of fun in just the party mode, not rather than even in ranked. It's especially the thing I especially like about it is the variety that it has as well. Like you have like the the hoops games and stuff like that as well, which mix things up a bit. And it is very, very good.
What I love about it is that it has what I love from fighting games, which is the mind games of psychology. And it has what doesn't have what I don't really like about fighting games, which is all the sort of real, very technical inputs and stuff that's very difficult to physically do with your hands. ARMS is an easy game to play, but it's not an easy game to be good at.
But yeah, there's so many bits in it that, like, so many times when I played, and I mean, I lost like quite a few games, and I just was like, I totally deserved to do that, to lose that. I really should have done like whatever. It felt, it felt very good to play.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to see how they deal with matchmaking. Yeah, that's what I was about to say. It'd be interesting because someone asked me a question on Twitter recently saying, when it comes to Rocket League, I want to get into it, but it feels like, I'm way late and I'm going to get hammered online. And the good thing about Rocket League is that there's so many people playing it that the matchmaking works really well. The really shit players, they drop to the bottom. So when you want to start learning, if you wanted to jump into Rocket League, you'll have no trouble doing that. You'll find your level after you've done your unranked games. You'll definitely find your level, and you'll start building from there. You'll be playing against, weak players. And then you can build up. With a game like ARMS, where it feels like the player base is a lot lower now, I don't know that for a fact, but generally they are the sort of reports coming from this, that the game's sort of struggling to stay alive. How does it feel coming in as a complete newcomer?
It's fine. I mean, the games that I had felt really well balanced. I mean, I was winning some, losing some. It felt fine. And then you got ranked as well. Yeah, there was a lot of, I mean, I had no problem getting games. It was, I mean, I think maybe the discount recently may have helped. Like maybe a few people.
It's done over 1 million.
Yeah.
And that was ages ago they announced that. So I think it's done okay. And the good thing is, like, most of the time you only need one person to play with. Obviously there's the games with the doubles games as well, but the party lobbies fill up quite quickly, and I stuck it on the other day. I had a couple of ranked games and had no trouble finding games. So yeah, unlike Lawbreakers or something like that where you need 12, I think I'm glad that it's I'm really glad actually that you actually got into it and sort of see what's so good about it.
Yeah, I mean,
so yeah, that's great to hear.
I mean, I think I mean, I've enjoyed it so far. I mean, I've only played it really over like 2 weekends, as much as I enjoyed Splatoon 2 online. Like in terms of like for playing, it's been really good. I mean, obviously completely different ton of games, but still Switch Online ones. But really good. I just wish more people would play because it is very, very fun.
Definitely.
Cool. Matthew, have you got any games to add?
Just Battlegrounds and Dark Souls. I do apologise. I'll try and play.
You're doing all right on Dark Souls, man. You're about to head down to Blighttown now.
It's
exciting.
On last night's stream, I went into the garden or the forest or whatever that area is called. I did the butterfly, butterfly boss. So I think I'm probably due to go to Blighttown next. So
Yep.
Still loving it. Still absolutely loving it.
John, did you hate that area? Because that's a real sort of. Some people hated it, some people liked it.
The garden.
No, the Blighttown.
It's where I stopped first time when I played the game originally on 360, just because it was just the frame rate was killing me, and that's where I bounced off. But second time through, it was fine. Second time through, I got the experience where, like the basic moment-to-moment of Blighttown, basic moment-to-moment of Dark Souls, I was kind of familiar with. I'd also finished Bloodborne by that point, so Blighttown wasn't too much of a trouble. And the frame rate on Xbox One, OG Xbox One, this was on Dark Souls, wasn't that bad. Like, it wasn't great, but it wasn't like it was before.
Yeah, I hear it's even better on X as well.
Smoother.
So hopefully it won't be so
I
bad.
assume it should theoretically be decent, but I think it was one of those situations where I bounced off it first time. It was like, classic Dark Souls, you play for like 45 minutes and you get further than you ever got, and then you just get one-shotted by something you didn't quite know what it was, and I'm like, well, fuck this. But I think I now played enough, when I went back to it, I played enough Souls in general to kind of understand the rhythm of it better to not let that happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Anyway, I'm still absolutely loving it. So when do we get to ring the second bell?
As far as I'm concerned, like you're in. You'll get to the end easy. I mean, we already knew you would because you set your mind to it. But even if you weren't doing the streams now, I think that you'd be there till the end.
Anolondo, man, Anolondo. There's still that hurdle.
Oh, there's hurdles. Don't get me wrong. Oh, there's hurdles. There's hurdles in Blighttown. But
when do I get to ring the second bell?
The bottom of Blighttown.
Awesome. Okay, cool. But every Sunday for 9 if you're listening and you haven't really watched, and the full stream goes up on YouTube if you can't watch it live.
Okay then, John, have you got anything else to add to our pool of games?
Well, yes, unlike you lot, I've actually put in some #graft this week and played some games.
John, you're new. So, you've really got, I mean, like we've done so well, but new boy, you got to do some work.
Mate, you're not in our league. We're bad. John's Premier League at the moment. James and I are probably Championship level. You're fucking still League One, mate. Because
based on what?
I mean, based on the fact that you never finish games. You've been like this for months.
Well, I haven't finished any of these games apart from one, to be fair.
With your research.
Well, I finished one, so that's more new.
But
Matt.
Also, Matt, he's not bringing this to Game of the Year, is he?
Well, we don't know yet.
Good point.
Good point. So obviously the main game was PUBG. I won't go into that. We talked about that plenty. And I'll quickly talk about another game that I played today, which is Dragon Ball FighterZ. Fighters, I don't know. The new 2D fighter from Namco Bandai. It's out at the end of this month. It was in open beta today and yesterday. Obviously it looks amazing. I don't know anything about Dragon Ball Z apart from like my brother used to watch it, where he's a lot younger than me, and my son watches it now. It looks good, but the game looks...
It really does look good, doesn't it?
Yeah,
I mean, it reminds me of South Park.
Absolutely amazing. Unfortunately, the open beta wasn't working properly, so like I could not get a game. So I can't really judge it. We played the practice mode a little bit just to get a quick handle on it. Looks amazing, feels really nice. I couldn't possibly comment on like the intricacies of the systems or anything, so I just didn't play it. We didn't play it properly. Whether or not I'll play the final version, I don't know, realistically, because I'm kind of interested in getting into Street Fighter 5 if I am going to have time to play a fighter. But yeah, it looks the part, man. Wow. I think it's in 4K on the X as well. I mean, it just looked absolutely magical. But yeah, I don't have a huge amount to say about that. But let me know if you've been playing the beta and if you get a game on it. Okay, moving on then. I said last week that I would finish Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice and talk about my final thoughts. And that's exactly what I did. It's actually, there was a bit longer than I thought at the end of the game. There's another 2.5, maybe 3 hours left. Taking the game, so it was probably pushing 10 hours. So, I mean, they said it was like half the length, half the price. But, I mean, it felt like pretty much almost the normal length of like a normal AAA action game, certainly, especially from like a few years ago when you expect a game to be about 8 hours long. But regardless, I think it did end up finishing really strong. I spoke last week about how it's a game that I admire, a game with an incredible central performance from the main character, Senua, who's, actually just the video editor from Ninja Theory, who ended up getting the part of the main character, but let down by its sort of over-reliance on these sort of spatial puzzles where you have to move the environment around and look at it from different angles. And there is some more of that towards the end, definitely, and it's never fun. I didn't find any of that enjoyable. I didn't find any of that particularly interesting, and quite often quite tedious because you're just plodding about the place looking. I'm not very good at stuff like that. My brain doesn't work like that, really. But the sort of last hour really sort of hammered home the atmosphere, the story, which is hard to follow but kind of interesting. Is one of those stories that's kind of like half literal and half you're following it, and half like something to interpret. Certainly the ending is like that. And there's a lot of combat towards the end of the game, and the more of the combat that I played, it does overstay its welcome slightly, but you can see that Ninja Theory know how to make third-person action combat, and they've kind of created a system that doesn't have the combos of their other games. It's not, like pages and pages of moves. It's very simple. It's like a heavy and a light, a parry, a block, and a dodge, basically, and like a sort of focus, which is like a power, like berserker mode type thing that you get in games. But it visually is really arresting, the combat. So you get into these long fights towards the end with enemies after enemies after enemies, while the voices in your head are sort of saying about how things are going to go wrong, and like, you're going to fail and all this sort of stuff. And then it does this clever thing towards the end. I don't want to spoil it necessarily, but the voices kind of change and you start to actually use them in combat. It's really quite an amazing sort of technique that they've used there. And Ninja Theory has always been a studio that's not afraid to be experimental in terms of different techniques and using all the material that they have to kind of create something that's not like anything else. So overall, I ended up feeling quite moved and quite impressed with Hellblade. I think it really treats its subject matter with care. I know it's come under some criticism for it's got its kind of a central theme that you can kind of battle against your own mental illness and defeat it. But ultimately, I don't actually think that's the point that the game was trying to make. I think there's elements of that within the game, but I don't think that's the point the game was trying to make. I think it handled everything with, good care and attention. Obviously, I don't suffer from schizophrenia and psychosis, so I can't possibly know what that feels like, but in terms of like giving me an idea of what that could feel like, but within this sort of action game setting, within this story, going down into hell to find your loved one in this kind of Norse mythology setting, I thought that it was ultimately successful, but ultimately way too reliant again on those puzzles. So, I mean, if I was to drop a score on it in the old-fashioned way, it'd probably be one of those solid 7s. But I really do admire it. I admire Ninja Theory a lot, and it's a game that's certainly going to stick with me for its high moments. But there would also be, I have to remind myself all that time when I was wandering around the place, not enjoying it at all. But not necessarily an easy recommend for people because it's kind of hard going. But at the same time, I do hope that people do give it a go and certainly see what they think. 'Cause I know there's people out there who've got a lot more out of it than me, people who are less bothered by the puzzles, etc., etc. So, I'm certainly glad that I got back to it and finished it and didn't just leave it half finished.
Yeah, the puzzles seem to be a real sort of love them or hate them thing, because I've read so many people saying that they absolutely adore the puzzles.
Oh, well, if you adore the puzzles, then the game's superb, really.
Yeah. But then, as I've equally seen people saying that they hate that side of the game. So, it seems like a real Marmite part of the game, that.
Definitely. But it seems like that everybody's in agreement about the stuff it does so well, like the visuals and the audio and all that sort of stuff.
Totally, yeah.
So, like I said, really happy that I finished that. And moving on to another game that's very much sort of focused on its story. I started on Wolfenstein 2, the new Colossus, which I bought when I saw it super cheap and it hadn't got around to starting. And my word, that game starts off with a bang, huh? I mean,
God. The start of it.
Yeah, I mean,
how did you react to it?
I mean, I don't want to go into spoilers because I'm very happy that I went in pretty much not knowing anything apart from obviously the story to the first game. But
totally, but that big shocking bit right at the beginning
Yeah.
How did you react to that? Did you laugh? Because I laughed and I felt bad about laughing, but I thought it was funny.
Well, I don't know exactly what bit you're talking about then, but
we'll have to talk later.
Yeah. I certainly didn't laugh. Yeah, I didn't laugh. I
know what you mean.
There's a bit I laughed at, but I don't think it was that. I found that, it was really quite strong. And I just, like, Machine Games is operating in terms of cutscenes and cinematics and storytelling and dialogue, operating on a completely different level to anybody, and I include Rockstar in that. It's absolutely amazing how well those cutscenes... What's that, sorry?
Do you include Naughty Dog in that as well?
Oof.
Yeah, in terms of the editing. Yes, I think
in terms of directing, I'd agree, yeah.
Yeah.
It's just...
Not necessarily in terms of story and narrative, but... in terms of the directing,
I love the way the cutscenes are shot.
Yeah, they're so kinetic. They're so they're like the efficiency of dialogue. They're just magnificent. So why it's such a fucking shame that when you play the levels in between, every time a level started, I was like, I really think it's a step down from the first game. And I need to play. I'm about.
And you played that recently, yeah.
Yeah. And I had my problems with the first game, but ultimately I think, it was successful and it created plenty of great scenarios. And I was just playing this and I was like, this is a plod, man. This is a plod. I was trying to put my finger on what is wrong with it, because I heard loads. I don't really have anything to add to the conversation so far. And admittedly, I'm quite early on in the game, so I need to give it its full shake, and I will be finishing the game. But, the narrative so far on this one, the discussion is like the gunplay's shit, the story's good, or the gunplay's not that good, the story's amazing, that kind of thing. And I don't really have a massive amount to add to that, but I was like, well, okay, so why is the gunplay shit? What is it that's going wrong here? Why is this failing? And I think there's a number of factors. The difficulties balanced insanely. When I heard about like the problems with you not registering hits to yourself very well and you're not realizing you're losing health, it being too hard, all this sort of stuff, and I'm like, these are all criticisms you can level at the New Order, the first Machine Games one, but it's way worse here. Playing on the second hardest difficulty, it was okay for a bit, and then there's this one section where you're just getting smashed instantly over and over and over and over again. I was like, this is rubbish. Why would I bother doing this? And so I put it down to the easiest one, but that strips any of the tension out of the combat scenarios because it is too easy, as easy modes tend to be. So that's just a real problem with the balancing. You've got 5 difficulty modes and the second one is too hard. Frustratingly and annoyingly hard. It seems like every enemy encounter has way too many enemies. Whereas a well-balanced shooter, a Titanfall 2, whatever it is, a campaign shooter, you'd have maybe 8 enemies in this. Wolfenstein will throw 17 at you. There'll be enemies coming from all directions. I remember catching them spawning enemies basically out of a dead end in the first game, and I'm sure this does it in the same way. And then the third thing, from what I've played so far, which is, I think 3 main levels, some, U-boat stuff, and then a couple of smaller little scenario bits, is that I just don't think the level design's anywhere near as open or expansive as it was in the original. And that's saying something because it wasn't massively so there. But here it's very tight corridors. Everything seems like a construct. The level where you land in New York is, I was expecting something kind of grandiose and epic. They built it up brilliantly in the story, and it's just this like kind of complicated, confusing labyrinth where you're just basically being pushed in a straight line through corridors and kind of tedious and repetitive combat scenarios. So
I definitely really unimpressed so far. I found that one of the better levels though, really. I mean, like some of the ones on the oil rig maybe, or whatever it was, you literally just going down like just funneled down one sort of channel. The New York one, there's a bit of a slight open area, which I found nice. But
did you get to the main like sort of boss bit in that?
Yeah, I finished that bit.
Did you have trouble finding where to go?
Multiple times. They're specifically.
No, I mean specifically after that.
Yeah, they're specifically. I managed to fluke it in the end because I'm normally terrible at stuff like that, but I managed to, find the stairs back the other way, but really weird choice in how it signposts things. Yeah. The game it reminds me of, when you get into the actual playing of it is Killzone Shadowfall, which I hate on PS4, one of the PS4 launch games. So really disappointed so far in the combat, but what a contrast to when the cinematics are in, or even when they're talking, dialogue appears as you're playing. I'm like, this will get me through to the end of the game just because I'm so invested, and I'm hoping it improves. And it's just, the good thing is you can shift the difficulty, so I'm going to keep putting it back up just to try and get a bit of tension in the combat because that will help it. But if it keeps pissing me off as much as it is, it's a real weird balancing. It's almost like it's on a lower budget, but it couldn't possibly be, surely, because it's so lavish in so many ways. And I must say, it looks amazing on the X. It runs beautifully. I don't know what resolution it is. It's not quite 4K, but it's running at 60. Like, moves like a whip. But yeah, man, way worse than I thought it was going to be so far. But again, I'm going to try and put in a shift and get that finished for next week's pod. But man,
I need to try and get that done for next week.
And then,
I'm in the same boat, yeah.
So I played one other game this week as well, which I'll just talk about quickly. A game called Tesla vs. Lovecraft, a bizarrely titled name. This is another one I got in my inbox from the studio 10 Tons Limited, who did the game Judge with a Y. I don't know if you ever heard me talk about that
it rings a bell,
a few weeks ago. So this is a Finnish studio. It's actually been around for ages, and they churn out games like a motherfucker. I think they've converted all of their old stuff onto Switch. So it seems like every day there's something coming to Switch from those guys, and I can't vouch for the quality of most of their games, but I've played two. I've played Judge, which is an excellent, daft and hilarious isometric sort of RoboCop riff, really high quality arcade shooter, and this, which is another very, very high quality arcade shooter. You play as Nikola Tesla. He's having a battle with H.P. Lovecraft for a reason that's given a 20-second cutscene at the beginning, and it's basically an excuse for you to, as Tesla, to drop into levels, have tech power-ups dropping all around you while you're fighting the creatures from Lovecraft. And it plays brilliantly, basically. Every single time you drop into a level, you can level up within that level, kind of like a MOBA. So you don't have an overall level throughout the game. It's just you level up from one in each drop, in each action scenario, and then you go back. And every time you level up, you have a choice between two perks. It comes up quickly, like this one or this one, like extra movement or more powerful bullets. You quickly choose one, level 3, like that. So that's happening as you're playing. And you also have a teleport. You have triple teleport. So it's a little bit like Velocity. It's a little bit like Mr. Shifty if you've played that. So you just end up with this like really fast-paced, exciting, almost tactical in a funny sort of way arcade shooter with like banging daft tunes, really silly, really fun. Like Finland has arcade shooting down to a T between these guys and Housemarque. I mean, Housemarque's like the pedigree, Housemarque's the Michelin star stuff, but this is like, just going in and getting a fucking Five Guys or something. This is really, really good as well.
Yeah.
Honestly, like Judge with a Y, if you're interested in something daft, kill some time on your Switch, like I would highly recommend it. It's very, very good. This as well is out Jan 25th, I think. This is like it's not quite finished yet. It's only on Steam at the moment, but it's coming out and everything else soon. These guys,
how much their games go for?
I think like 11, 12 quid, something like that. So they're not too expensive. And they've got Neon Chromes on there, which is supposed to be banging. Similar thing. They've got a couple of others. They've been making these types of games, like I say, I think since the 90s. So yeah, it's not nowhere near as like gorgeous and like pristine as the Housemarque games, but you can't fuck with it. Like I played that Ruiner game, which had all the hallmarks of something that was going to be amazing. But then I played Judge, which looks like a piece of junk, but plays. I mean, it pisses on that game. And so does this. So, yeah, 10 Tons Limited, my boys. And they just email and go, here's a code for the new game. No fucking about. That's how it should be done.
Yeah, that's a rarity these days.
Yeah, my boys.
I remember... no, I can't. I can't what? Nothing. Is that it?
That's my games. #graft.
Right, wicked. Let's get on to emails.
Me too. Let me Civil Water for the working man.
See, what I should do is do you earlier, and then you got some time before.
All I need is a sip of water.
Too much then,
isn't it? There's no such thing. No such thing. Right. Emails. It's time for emails. So if you want to email us, it's thecomputergameshow@gmail.com. So we're kicking off with a long email. So I've had to edit this one. So apologies to Matt King, but your email was way too long to read. I like what you're doing to us. So it's still long. But, so, hey guys, it's your boy, the Destiny Liker here with another email that this time isn't clashing with the Goatee show. So hopefully you can find some time for it. That's exactly what's happening right now. So you're probably going to mention Bungie's announcement about the big changes coming to Destiny 2. Well, we didn't.
Was that in the news,
James?
I don't care. Go on.
Okay. I appreciate the honesty. We can talk about it now. So, Matt figured it was a good time to give some defence to the community's problems with the base game, as a lot of chats since launch has been a bit unfairly dismissive of them. Dismissive of them, that's actually really hard to say. The two main issues are a stale, unrewarding endgame and Eververse, which is like the in-game shop, locking most rewards behind loot boxes. Side note, there was a lot of side notes. I had to kill a lot of them. The campaign and majority of the UX improvements are fantastic. No one's arguing that. The problems only emerge when repeating the high-level endgame activities and finding there is almost no point in doing so. I personally put 2,000 hours into D1 despite the repetition because there was always something to aim for. That is a lot of hours. D1 had a multitude of carrots to chase and boxes to tick, and Destiny 2 has almost none. Weapons and armor have fixed roles, so the loot pool is very safely balanced and incredibly boring. The majority of gear comes from handing in vendor tokens and receiving random items, and the bulk of collectible ships, sparrows and shaders are now locked behind limited time seasonal loot boxes rather than activities. Destiny 2's endgame is lean towards Overwatch's reward system, almost no progression and loot. That has so little impact, it's effectively cosmetic. There was a bunch of other stuff, but he ends up, thanks guys, love the show, and John's a great addition to the team. That's why you got your email read out, Matt. Thank you very much. And sorry for the email length again. I edited as much as I could. No, you didn't. But all good. All good. So, do we want to get into this? I think when you can't really argue with somebody who's putting in those sorts of hours, they know best. But at the same time, that's a lot of hours. I've heard similar complaints many times. So when he says that, I think it's sort of people have been unfairly dismissive of them. I've had similar thoughts myself, and I haven't put in anywhere near that sort of hours. But at the same time, I flip it around and go, well, I put 60, 70 hours into Destiny 2 over 2 systems and enjoyed it a lot. And I've still got content to get to, but I get it. Like, it seems that people actually want that horrible fruit machine hook. Like, I've talked about it before, people kind of like loot boxes. They like that dopamine hit, and that's what Destiny 1 did better than Destiny 2. So I get it. In balancing and fine-tuning, in smoothing and improving the game, they actually made it worse for the people that just want that, they want to smoke on that crack pipe. And that's
totally just for me. It was, I know it's a stupid thing to say, but it was almost too well refined. It's just, it didn't have any, I'm not sure if I was playing for the mystery of the first one, but the first one I was absolutely hooked. I was spending hours on my own just collecting materials, for goodness sake. But this one just didn't grab me. Obviously, I'm in a different, this is a few years later, different things happened. Other games are out there and whatnot. And, but for whatever reason, that's still definitely one of my biggest regrets of last year, that a game didn't grab me like I so desperately wanted it to.
Yeah, see, because I always played Destiny because I enjoyed playing it. I loved the shooting. Like, I genuinely loved the shooting.
Oh, yeah, me too. It's still, for me.
You say me too, but you were very much like, okay, now I've got to collect these materials. Let's go in and out of these caves. And I'm like, can we just do a strike and shoot things?
I still thought the shooting was brilliant.
Okay, but primarily, I played that stuff because I just really enjoyed playing it. And the reason I can't relate to these complaints is that when I play Destiny 2, I have the same feelings of just really enjoying playing it. I'm not too bothered about loot stuff. Of course, I want to pick stuff up all the time. That's fun, no doubt. But, if it's not as intense as it was in the first game, you haven't lost me as a fan, to be honest with you. So, you're right, we shouldn't write off their concerns. They're the people that are putting in far more hours than we are. But at the same time, I can't relate to it because
I think that's totally fair. I think, Matt's right, but what you say is totally reasonable, and that's kind of where I am as well. Right, moving on. Hi, chaps. Great to have John on the show. Thanks. We've heard on previous episodes
you're just picking ones that are saying, "Oh, John's great." Is that it? Is this the selection
if anyone
process?
wants to get their email read out on next week's show, just start it with "Great to have John on the show."
Yeah,
if you don't, that's why your email has not been read out tonight.
Matt, have you checked to make sure these were actually on the emails and he hasn't just written them in? He's just copied and pasted them.
He's just John's the best. Anyway, here's the email.
That's the next one. That's weird. Right. Great to have John on the show. Oh, I forgot that. I said that already, didn't I? We've heard on previous episodes about how David, James and Matt's partners aren't really into gaming much. I wondered whether John's other half was into gaming at all, and has John ever tried to get her into trying a certain game? That's from Kurt Lewin. That's actually a good question. She's not really. Unfortunately, video games make her feel really motion sick, like the worst person I've ever met for motion sickness in games.
Yeah, that's what
almost any game.
My wife gets that as well. Did I tell you about when I first met her and I made her play Halo and then she threw up in the sink?
When you first met her?
First date was.
Not when I first met her, but after we've been dating for a while,
Hi, I'm Rachel. Hi, I'm James. Sit down.
Rachel?
This is
Rachel?
Master Chief.
Okay. No.
Oh, that's the daughter in it. Oh, fucking hell, yeah, Chen.
That's weird.
God, that got awkward.
Yeah, James. James. This is I'm really looking forward to the date. This is brilliant. You said it's going to be a romantic meal. No, it's Master Chief, and Master Chief. Get us down here.
Get the Ethernet
cable down. We're going to play some Master Chief.
It wasn't the first date, but it was after we'd been together a while, and then I made her go, and then she threw up, and it was horrible because she gets really. The thing is, she won't try the PlayStation VR for the same reason. I keep trying to like sneak it on her, but she's cause
sneak it on her. What? How? What, when she's asleep?
She's gonna wake up.
Yeah,
she's
gonna wake up one morning in a shark tank.
We'll see what happens.
What, do you want her to be sick?
Well, not necessarily, but
it sounds like you do.
It's kind of comedy, but go on.
Comedy.
Comedy.
Nothing funnier than when my wife's sick.
James just cracking up in the corner.
I was just like I was going to say.
I just put a little bit of rat poisoning in your dinner because it's so funny.
Anyway,
right, moving on then. It's just very similar, to be fair. I remember early on she played Viva Pinata on the 360, loved it, got obsessed, but it just made her feel ill. Fable 2, loved that, almost finished it, but that game had a bad frame rate anyway. But as did Viva Pinata, in fact. So yeah, both of those struggled with. And yeah, she played the first season of Walking Dead with me. Did a little bit of the Game of Thrones games, a couple of bits here and there she's got into. She's actually really good at Tetris and Puyo Puyo. But overall, not massive interest, and also they make her feel sick. But she'll play a bit of Mario with the kids and stuff like that. But
did she get into any mobile games?
Well, she played like that 1,000 Ways to Die and a couple of other bits and bobs, but not like the big ones like Candy Crush or anything like that.
Yeah, Chen will play like Tetris and stuff. She's playing Cross at the moment because she really likes that. But yeah, anything 3D, she's not interested.
Yeah,
that's still way more than Joe. She's never played a mobile game. The closest thing she's come to gaming is SingStar. That's it. A little bit of Rock Band maybe, but
yeah,
she never used to play the instruments.
Jill's got into this new mobile game. I haven't seen it, but I think it's called Tinder. I don't know how it works, but she's always on that one. It's crazy. In terms of games, actually, do you know what Jill actually played loads of Kinect games with me, mostly because I was playing them, but like Dance Central, we played loads of that, and someone ever Connect, jumping around ones, and SingStar definitely, a little bit of Rock Band, but I think that's just when we were courting. But yeah, it's not a thing.
Has she had to play any games because of Elodie yet?
Oh no, God no. No, I mean, Elodie doesn't really play games, and I don't really play games for Elodie. On the rare occasion that I have a switch out when Elodie's still awake, then Elodie is up for seeing that, but no, Jill wasn't. She wasn't done that.
I see, because Joe's had to play Mario Kart a few times during the day, just to if he's playing up or whatever, just getting really on their nerves. She'll put Mario Kart on, and then one day she'd been playing it for about 2 weeks. I think she'd just started it, and she was asking me how to play it, and this, that, and the other. And I come home from work one week, and she just looked at me, stone faced, and just went, "Princess Peach is a bitch." And I was like, okay, yeah, all right, fine. Someone got hit by a blue shell. Okay, cool.
I know last week, Chet's question was, how long will it take your mums and or dads to get a chucked in? I reckon we should stream all of our other halves, all of our wives, just with like a 4-player squad match of PUBG.
Just all
just play a 4-player squad match. I mean, I could try and convince Jo to do that. I think she could do that. The 4 of them playing just one round of PUBG.
Yeah. It's live stream.
They wouldn't make it out the plane. Well, Chen would. Chen would. She'd be being sick.
Yeah, I couldn't do that to Nat. If it wasn't for that side of it, then yeah. That game's frame rate,
playing it, and then we could be all
doing
commentary.
Oh god, but that would be
shoutcasting.
That would be good though. It's a shame about the throwing up, because that would actually be genuinely quite good.
Yeah. My
favourite stream I've ever done was putting the headset on Harry and watching him play Dirt 4. And then people watching him and he's just saying all weird shit about the cars and that. And while it was slamming into the wall. It was so funny about that. Okay, fine. Next.
Okay, we've got an email about Fortnite. So, Luke Dolsk, I believe Fortnite to be a better game than PUBG, and this is for 3 reasons. 1, looting for 15 plus minutes is not fun.
Not
2,
true.
Dying in PUBG feels really bad, probably due to reason 1. 3, vehicle RNG is the worst, and setting your character to auto-run because you know that's all you're going to be doing for the next 5 minutes is miserable. You mentioned that PUBG creates stories, and for this I have no reference. I assume this is from squad play, but as I only play solo in both games, this may be something I'm missing, as only present when playing with teammates or friends, and said thanks, Luke Stolsk. So I think we talked about this a little bit last week, and fair enough, if you're only playing solos, in both. I can definitely see that because I had a couple of miserable solos in PUBG the other day where I did exactly that. Ended up one corner of the map, the circle was the other corner of the map, and I just ran for like 15 minutes, legitimately 15 minutes, not seeing anybody, got into the circle and died, and it happened twice. And I was like, I think this is God or whoever, the world, just telling me to take a break from PUBG. So that doesn't happen in Fortnite because the game's so much faster. You can pretty much never get stitched up by the circle in the same way. But I'll repeat what we've said multiple times. As slick as Fortnite is, as good as Fortnite is, and as inventive as it is with the building stuff, the moments that PUBG creates, particularly in squads, when you're, a vehicle comes up to a house, or just even a random encounter. Like I remember.
Oh God, that is so good. Those moments are the best. When you're in a house and you're stocking up and you hear a vehicle pull up, and you're like, oh my God, that is brilliant. Or if you're planning to make a quick exit on a vehicle you arrived in, and then you just hear, that's ours. Like stuff like that. And I also get like a real sort of thrill when we're all running along and we're in like some field or whatever in the middle of nowhere. We've all got our guns up, and then we come across like a group of houses, and we all sort of like slow things down a bit as we're approaching it. We're all saying the doors are open, looking at the windows, blah, blah, blah. We're all communicating as we're approaching this thing. It really does feel like you're in a bit of a squad together, and you've all got your sort of roles and stuff. There's nothing like it, man. I think, I could see why you would like Fortnite. Well, I mean, I could see how someone could like Fortnite more than PUBG anyway. No. It's not solely down to this, but I think
and
if you're
Fortnite
playing with a
definitely
squad of
does.
3 people,
Sorry to cut you off for a second, but Fortnite definitely does create stories too. Like there's no two ways about it in a very similar sort of way, but it's just not on the same level in terms of that stuff.
No, and as I said, when like that 15 minutes of looting and getting shot may be shit, but when there's 4 of you, and you're all in separate houses, you're all telling each other what's in that house and then swapping stuff over. I love that shit. I don't know why, I just love it. It's like, we were playing that, the other night, and we were all swapping scopes and working out, what weapons are. The amount of times you've said to me, what gun you got, Dave? I got this one. Right, well, I've got bullets for that I don't need, and then dropping them all off and shit like that. It's just brilliant. I love that stuff.
It is.
I also think you can have loads of stories, even in solos. I mean, there's obviously higher chances for stories with the camaraderie you've got in squads, but the few games I've played and winning, or even not winning, there's still things to be gained and to be excited about, even solos.
Yeah, but it's not as fun when you're just shouting "buck, buck" at the top of your voice on your own,
it's still fun.
or repeatedly saying Kevin's apartment over and over and over and over.
That definitely
again.
needs a group to do, but
okay, cool.
Right, but basically, you're right, Luke. Those 3 points, you can add 4, it crashes all the time on Xbox, 5, the frame rate's piss shits, yet still somehow we've all put in 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 hours into it, so they must be doing something right for us. Right, next and last email is from Adam Reynolds. Evening, fellas. There's a nice thing about me. I won't even read it out, so you guys don't yell at me. What are everyone's favourite little details in Mario Odyssey? I just love that when you go into a 2D stage, every single outfit has its own pixel model version. Just love that game. Keep it up, guys. Really happy you're back again this year. Happy 2018, except Matt. Don't like that one anymore.
Oh, come on.
Harsh. But, fair.
Unsurprising. Yeah.
So, the little details in Mario Odyssey. Dave, you're well into it.
Well, the music stuff is amazing. Like, being able to have every single track in that sort of 8-bit sound is beautiful. I love the fact that if you go to certain benches and stuff, like, not certain benches, if you go to certain types of objects, that's our seats. What a sentence. Then it's a different animation when you don't, like, when you let go of the stick, he drops down, sits down. The weight in animations is the best in any game. When you're not touching the pad, he lays down and a bird lands on his nose.
Isn't it, every time?
Is it?
Isn't it like a bird that's like relevant to the level?
I mean, it's computer generated, so it's not an actual bird. What? It's a different bird every time.
Oh, no, I don't mean like one's Steve and one's Clive. I thought it was like a different type of bird for each level, depending on what level you're in.
I don't know. Probably.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, it's just full of like really, really neat little touches. Like, but it's mainly the music for me, I think, that hits home. The first time you take control of the RC car and that challenge.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
That music
it has the like original Mario Kart music playing, and it's just it's brilliant. It's
but yeah, I mean, nothing beats for me the end of The Darker Side of the Moon. that climb up. I did the Darker Side of the Moon again yesterday, because Harry wasn't with me at the time, and it didn't do the. Well, once you've done it once, you've clocked it.
I was going to ask that. Yeah, so I want you to know once you can just like whiz through it, I guess, because you know.
Yeah, because you know it, but the it didn't have the text as you were climbing the building.
Don't spoil too much for me.
That's not. That's very
for sure
non-spoilery, but it didn't have that, and that it took a lot away from it.
So you did it a second time, and it's actually different.
Well, no, it just doesn't have the whole ending bit, basically. So you're playing out the ending bit, but it doesn't have the stuff that goes with it, and it feels kind of like empty.
I still wanted to do that.
Whereas when you do it the first time, it's so good. Yeah, James, you know you can change the music in every level, right? To whatever you want. Have you done that?
Yeah, sometimes, because
it really shows how good the music is, because you put any other track on when you're running about, it's like, what?
Yeah, I did that, and bizarre. It didn't feel right. I put on the amazing music from like the Wooded. What's the Wooded Kingdom?
Wooded Kingdom.
That in New Donk City, and it didn't feel right at all. I mean, I love the song.
Yeah, no, it feels fucking bizarre.
Asher does it all the time.
Did you guys see that? Sorry, I can't remember who sent it to me, or if I just found it on my own. That video about how all of the sound effects in the game harmonise with the music, and it changes depending on which track you put on.
Oh God, that's going to go crazy. I'm going to have to try that.
I mean,
I don't know
the main example
that
he uses is, when you jump on the power lines and like that one.
Yeah.
Whichever tune you put on, it harmonises with that, and it even harmonises with different parts of that tune. But also, like, when the funny wiggly guys that go, that will harmonise and be in tune with whatever tune's on whichever part of the tune. It's incredible. Like, I thought, for some reason, I thought James sent it to me, but I think I should send this to James, but I didn't do either, so sorry.
There's also the Goomba boss battle at the top of the Wooden Kingdom in that big dome thing. If you go and do that, the music completely changes, but then laced behind it is the actual Wooded Kingdom theme, and it seamlessly, it sounds like it's just a new track playing, but when you listen to it, it's actually just mixed into the normal music as you're playing it, and then once you defeat it mixes out again, and that is just, I love that. I've done that boss battle quite a few times just because I love what the music does. It reminds me of the first time you play Banjo-Kazooie and you go to like a new area within the same level and it just completely changes it, but still keeps in time with what's playing. It's fucking good.
I'm gonna get to that Dark Side of the Moon. I've got 2 long train journeys tomorrow, in fact, so that's the plan. I'm gonna get there.
Smash. Yeah.
Right, that's it for emails. So moving on to tweets. If you want to tweet us, it's at ComputerGamePod on Twitter. What?
I didn't realise there were still tweets.
There's
I thought
tweets,
that was it. I was about to go mad.
There's tweets, boy. Right. Ada Black says, this is a good question. Which games do you guys love that most people hate? I'll take this one straight off the bat. The 3D Bionic Commando that Grin made, the Swedish studio, before they shut down. I thought that game was dope. It has a hilarious ending where your arm, I'll spoil it, your Bionic Commando arm is actually your wife. It was just one of the best endings of all time. I thought the mechanics were brilliant, the combat was brilliant, everyone hated it. But I never played the old 2D one, so I had none of that nostalgia. But I thought it was a real deal.
Oh man,
isn't it?
I'm sure for years I've been saying I've got a really obvious answer for this.
Yes, Future Unfolding.
Wasn't it Devil's Third?
Fuck off. No, I hated Devil's Third, remember? Remember that? I hated it. I don't know, Mafia 2, I guess. People... That still did pretty well.
Yeah, people like that.
I don't know. That's probably a bad example.
It's a difficult question off the top of your head. That's just something that I've had in my brain for a while as an answer to that question.
Future Unfolding then, isn't it? Good game.
I don't think people hate
Anyone else?
Did they?
Yeah, well, no, but I did get a lot of messages saying, I don't like this. Why were you bigging it up so much?
Yeah, I
don't know. I loved it. What do you want to do? One of those was John Denton. Next.
I mean, I like Crackdown 2. People did not give a shit about that game.
No, that was not good. No.
Well, that's
you
the point
didn't play Crackdown 1, though,
and
did
I
you?
did like it. Swap yours.
Well, all right. This is defensive. What? You didn't play Crackdown 1, though, did you?
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
Which explains a lot.
So you missed out.
The second one was, it was all right. It was all right.
James?
What?
It was all right.
I can't think of anything at all.
You like that Mario Colour Splash, didn't you? People didn't like
that. That was
yeah.
fantastic. I love that game.
I don't know why the fuck I remembered that. I can't remember what happened yesterday. I remembered that. Brilliant.
Well, it happened in the Game of the Year show, didn't he? And he just completely wrote off everyone's opinion because they didn't like it because they didn't understand the combat system.
I said they didn't like it because they hadn't played it long enough. Clearly, was the reason.
A bit like you playing Stardew.
Because in the reviews that they had, they'd only talked about game mechanics that were in the opening parts of the game and nothing about what happens later.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
Dodgy.
Actually,
Dodgy,
I guess
right.
my answer should be Farpoint.
Yeah, that's a good shout.
Oh yeah, of course.
That's a good shout, mate.
It's a good game.
Right.
John.
Of course.
Well, okay. Moving on. Athene Allen, Mario says, Mario Tennis Aces was announced last week, as we spoke about. What do you all think of the Camelot Mario sports games? We kind of touched on this a little bit, but Dave, do you have much experience with these games?
Which ones are these?
The golf. They do all of them, don't they? Golf, tennis, those terrible football games.
I don't think I've ever liked one.
Okay.
Is that the golf? No, that's a lie. Golf.
Yeah.
Golf. I've played.
I think that's what they started on, was the golf ones.
Yeah. Mario Golf hasn't been too bad, but tennis I've never really got on with,
same.
and football's just always been dog shit.
That one on the Wii's crap.
Yep, for wheel.
Anyone else?
No, I've no idea. I don't think I've played any of the sports games actually.
No, you ain't missing a huge amount, mate. Don't worry about it. All right, Martin Baker at Bakers12. I'm getting major Switch envy, but need a new TV. It works, but has a wide shadow on screen. That probably means weird shadow, doesn't it? Or I don't know what a wide shadow is. What should I get first?
The Switch.
Yeah.
New TV.
Oh, if your TV's fucked, then probably a new TV.
If the TV's fucked, it needs a new TV. That's it.
Yeah, you're right.
Forget about it.
Right. Here, okay, Andriy Gershwend, that's how I'm going to pronounce your name from now on, correct me if I'm wrong. Does John with an H? Does John just like games that are second choice for other people? He seems to push Fortnite when people talk about PUBG and praises Lawbreakers when there is a much better hero shooter in Overwatch. So, if so, what are his opinions on DKCTF? I assume that's Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze and how it compares to Mario. Well, I mean, you might be proving my point where I do think Tropical Freeze is better than Mario 3D World as a pure platformer. Mario 3D World has a special place in my heart for what brought my whole family together and was Elliot's first real game. But no, I mean, I don't just like games that are second choice for other people. That would make me some sort of cunt. So no, I just like what I like, and I talk about what.
That's the name of the episode, by the way. Now, some sort of cunt.
The thing is, some sort of cunt. The thing is that you've picked a few examples there, and you talk about lots more games than just a couple, don't you? So
yeah. And also, I like those other games, PUBG and Overwatch. So, but I get what you're saying. This is all good. Maybe I got a bit angry because of the H situation. Andrew again, though.
What H situation?
You put an H in my name. 35 years of hell, Dave. I mean,
Matt gets that.
I know. That's why me and Matt are kindred spirits. Anybody with an unusual spelling of a common name. Right, Andrew again. He must have his name misspelled all the time, so he understands.
Dear David,
why do you think the gaming industry is so secretive about its game sales and how much money they make? I can't think of an entertainment industry that tells people less about how things sell, or if a certain game even breaks even. Oh, God, that was a weird thing to write.
That's a good point, actually. I mean, you're constantly hearing about movies and how they do, and if they've the development costs of a movie and ticket sales and whatnot.
Is it because there's competitive advantage kind of style with this? Between different companies, they don't want to reveal how much they're spending on stuff and everything, so that they don't get outbid or whatever for stuff.
For sure, that's happening in movies as well.
Yeah, but you're comparing it to just movies. I mean, he's saying I can't think of another industry. I mean, I can. Radio and TV to some extent. I mean, we know viewing figures, but even they're a bit shady. We don't know about on-demand stuff.
I think maybe it's excessive movies
we know about
being
radio.
Sorry, go on.
Listener figures, don't we? With all the
no, we know about Radar.
Yeah, Radar,
or whatever that's called. Yeah, it's awful. It's not a system. It makes no sense, and we also don't know how much they're charging for advertising. There's a lot of side of that business that is just kept secret.
I believe it's £40.
Every radio station wants to be seen as the radio station, like the biggest, and it's just so everyone's quiet about it. Same with podcasting. Not many people are happy to talk about podcasting downloading figures.
Well, let's do it now. Let's break
we
tradition.
don't really know circulation of magazines and stuff. We have.
No, magazine circulation is public.
Sorry?
Magazine circulation is public.
Oh, is it really? Where do you find that
it's
stuff?
The ABCs is what they're called. So, they get published. But yeah, I mean, I think the Hollywood stuff might just because it's like a sort of a gossip town, isn't it? You know, budgets become, that stuff it becomes part of the narrative. But then again, it's a good question though, because I don't actually know the real answer. But, I don't know. I just guess private companies don't have to release that information in specifics of their game budgets, etc., and sales. All right, Ben Syme Chronicles at Scientologist. Quick question for the show: as DT seems to very much dislike fantasy crap, did he refuse to join in the D&D sessions in Life is Strange Before the Storm?
No, because the very idea of that is that it was taken from the view of someone that isn't into that scene getting into it, and I thought that was interesting, and I enjoyed it. I played through the whole of the D&D bit in that game. It was really good. Cool. It's funny. And of course, it was more about the moral choices she was making, whether to play along to make friends with the I'm going to say it, nerds, or to fob them off and be a bit of a dick to them. So, yeah, there was that side of it as well.
And
sit me down and try and play D&D when you meet me, and I'll fucking chop your head off.
You haven't got like a 12-sided dice or something now, like David?
No. I've got dices with shapes on them because Harry plays Monster Bingo, but that's about it.
That's a good fact. Right, finally, Darren Gargett at Desmond. Hi, Matt. What's your favourite Sega cheat code?
Well, it's the obvious one, isn't it? It's up, down, left, right, A, and start. My second one...
I like the Sonic 2
Can I ask you a question about that? Can I ask you a question about that? So it's up, down, left, right, A, start. That's what I've always thought it was. But then when you see some like nerdy T-shirts or whatever, they put like up, down, left, right.
Yeah, that's a Konami code. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Gotcha.
Well, my other one is also. I think it's like upsy, downsy, leftsy, rightsy, which I think is also another Sonic one.
Yeah, I've seen that as well.
Yeah.
I think that's one
from Sonic 2.
You could add loads of rings and stuff into level, but yeah, both of those are Sonic 1 cheats. I think the first one's level select.
See, I know one for Sonic 2 as well, James, but I'm wondering if it's the same one.
Is it the 1965 917 for the level select?
No.
Okay. Because that was, you had to do that through the sound test.
All right, Rayman.
Level select. Yeah, it was great.
My one was, it was on the Game Gear version of Sonic 2 where you had to press start just as Sonic blinked. And I legitimately thought it was an April Fool's thing because we fell for the Tomb Raider nude play along to Spice Girls trick.
What?
You never heard about this?
Well, no, but what's this?
Right, so there was, I think it was in one of the Sega magazines because it was about the Tomb Raider version, the
Saturn version.
Sega Saturn version of Tomb Raider, and it was you had to go to a specific part of the map, and you had to like make her step left and right in time with "If You Want to Be My Lover" by Spice Girls, and if you get the timing right, you enter Nude Raider, and she's naked. I mean, my brother sat there and did it. I just went, it's not working.
So you guys press play on the cassette, which you just recorded from the top 40 with Mark Goodyear on a Sunday night. And then I
think CDs were available then. The CDs were available. I mean, we put one in a Sega Saturn to play the game, Matt. So you're... no wonder your times were fucked up on your side of the recording. Yeah. You're in all sorts of dimensions, isn't it?
I'm using 8 tracks over it.
Beta Matt. All right.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
Okay, well, that was the tweets and emails. Thank you very much who sent them in. Decent chunk this week, I think. Not sure why James Farley of the Compute Games Show likes to click around on the shared Google Doc and highlight different bits randomly.
He's always like
very strange and distracting because his name appears in the middle of words.
He's constantly highlighting text.
Yeah.
I don't know what's happening.
It keeps me on my toes, so that's all good. So yeah, make sure you send us tweets at ComputerGamePod and emails at ComputerGameShow@gmail.com, and I believe that's the end.
Matt, if people have some form of social media, what should they be doing on that?
I mean, don't follow us on Twitter at ComputerGamePod because it's just shitty memes these days, and even if I get a chance...
It's been shitty memes for years, mate.
Yeah.
I mean,
I maintain there's a... Don't forget it. Just right. We're also on Twitch. I do a Dark Souls stream every Sunday night from 9. Hopefully, we'll maybe squeeze in a PUBG stream. Who knows? But yeah, go to Twitch, search for the Computer Game Show, and if you haven't already, or if you've got an Amazon Prime account, think about dropping us a free subscription. That's always lovely. And we'd love your reviews on Apple Podcasts. Go over there, leave us a review of any stars you want. Obviously, 5 is the one we want. But yeah, leave us a review and tell your friends about the show. We want more people to listen. Really.
Tweet about us. Tweet about us.
Yeah, every tweet you send. I know I've got a lot of abuse recently, but I still enjoy it. So yeah, tweet us.
Well, and tweet your mates and that.
Yeah, and that. Yeah, tweet your mates. Yeah, just tweet your mates and say, "You right?" But also mention the show.
What the fuck?
Thanks for living it. Thanks for living it. Goodbye.
See ya.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Mm-hmm.